Hello and welcome to the 4th edition of SourceCast. Today we're going to be talking and discussing the Nintendo Direct that recently just happened. With me today is the founder of SourceGaming, PushDustIn.
Hello.
And the article team leader, Spazzy D.
Hey.
We have the translation team leader, Marsman.
Hey there.
And our special guest for this SourceCast is Game Explain's very own Ash Paulson.
Hi there.
Alright, and I'm your host, Nantendo. I'm the video team leader. And so we're just going to jump straight into the first segment, which is probably one of the biggest news, probably for all of our fans listening to this. And that's Cloud Strife has been revealed as a DLC character for Smash 4. And I can say quite confidently that, except for Spazzy, pretty much no one ever saw this coming.
That's for sure.
Definitely caught a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah.
It was the only Final Fantasy rep that made sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it was if it was ever going to be any Final Fantasy character, it was always going to be Cloud.
Right, and I understand why. I understand why people say, well, it shouldn't be Cloud, because he basically kind of it epitomizes the entire separation of Squaresoft from Nintendo. They left with Final Fantasy VII, and it was he's much more emblematic of Sony than Snake ever was. He is the PlayStation All-Star, which is pretty hilarious since he wasn't at PlayStation All-Stars. But at the same time, the series has a huge history with Nintendo, and he's the face of the series. I've said it before that, you know how like Major League Baseball and the NBA, like all these sports leagues have the silhouette of a player as their logo. If there was a JRPG logo, it would be a silhouette of Cloud, because he's kind of Mr. JRPG. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
Much in the same way that Ryu is Mr. Fighting Games.
Right,
He
exactly.
is emblematic of fighting games as a whole.
Yeah,
that's definitely true. I mean, he is the one that makes the most sense for any RPG fighter. Even if I thought Chocobos or Black Mages would be more likely than Cloud, I completely understand where Cloud getting in. I was under the false pretense that I thought it had to be related to Nintendo in some way to get in.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's go through people's proper raw reactions to this news, and we'll start with Ash.
Wow. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I'm a giant Final Fantasy fan, so I was one of those people where as soon as I saw the stars and heard even the first half second of the opening theme, I'm like, this is Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
This is Cloud. It has to be. And from then on, it was basically just me waiting for Cloud to make his appearance, and sure enough, he did. And so I guess in that sense, I expected it from the second I saw the trailer, from the second it started, because I know Final Fantasy, but still, when it actually happened, it just blew my mind. And now, especially, the more time that passes since his announcement, and the more I think about it, the more the genuine gravity of his announcement really affects me, because I'm just like, like you said, he is the PlayStation All-Star, or at least one of them, and it's the ultimate irony that they couldn't get him for PlayStation All-Stars, but now he's in Smash. And, Cloud is like one of those pie-in-the-sky characters like Goku, who we all made fun of these people, on like Miiverse or wherever else, like, oh yeah, I want Goku in Smash, Cloud in Smash, game FAQs. But you know what? They're laughing now because one of those pie-in-the-sky characters really just happened, and it blows my mind.
Well, Cloud was the ultimate Brawl mod back in the day. Like, if you look at all the modders, Cloud is the one that appears pretty much more than anyone else, except for maybe Goku.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that he's actually in, finally. People who probably made these mods are going to be sitting here looking at him, comparing them to their own to see how accurate they were to getting Cloud into the game.
I can imagine there'll be some people who say, Sakurai definitely took this idea from me. I made this first.
The Smash community is way too good at saying things like that.
There's like Charizard. I don't remember what it was. Like his new like forward air or something. Like he stole that. Like I don't remember what it was. But like, they stole that from Project M. I'm like, it's like a claw swipe in the air, guys. It's not.
It's not rocket science.
That stuff drives me batty. I can't stand people who say stuff like that.
I think it's a little disingenuous.
Yeah. A lot of disingenuous.
Well, as I'm not a huge Final Fantasy person. 6 and 13 are probably the only two that I've properly played. I have played 7 a bit.
okay.
I think I got up to getting Kate Sith and then somehow lost
Nice.
my copy of the game on PlayStation. And so
Aw.
I'm now just sitting here waiting for the remake before I can finally replay it again. And so when it all first popped up to me, I didn't clock that it was Final Fantasy up until the logo actually appears. And the second 7 showed up, I was completely floored by what it was. Because out of all the Final Fantasies, maybe the original seeing Chocobo or Black Mage wouldn't have surprised me. But Cloud completely did.
Yeah.
And I really like the way he's been brought in with his limit break. Seems to be his new gimmick thing.
Right.
And I'm curious how it works because it looks to me like his limit break is almost like a charge, like his down special. With the way he's doing it. So like it takes ages to charge it up. But if you can stand there and get it fully charged, then it gives you a massive power boost.
So in that sense, it might be somewhat similar to Wii Fit Trainer's deep breathing, right?
Yes.
If it's like that, yeah.
Yeah, from what I gathered from the trailer, it only affects special moves. Because they showed the
Yeah, that's
comparison
what I
between the
saw.
two.
Well, yeah,
right?
all of his specials are limit breaks, so you charge up the limit breaks with his down special, and then
Yeah.
each level,
limit charge.
depending on how. My thing is if it's just one charge, or if there's actually different levels of charge. I think there's only one based off what we saw.
Yeah, I think it's only
Yeah,
one. I
there's
think you have to
looks like
fully
only one
charge it for it to activate.
And I guess the strategy there would be you charge it and then you have one charge, but it goes away when you use any of your specials. So are you if you're going to attack with your specials, it's gone. It's not like you can save it for your recovery because you're going to be fighting with your specials.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good point. I didn't think about that.
If
Which is, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say that if you watch the video after he does the limit charged special attacks, then the blue glow goes away. He starts glowing blue, there's a blue aura around him after the limit charge, and then once he performs the attack, that disappears. So I'm pretty sure it's just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't take that as long to charge up as I was initially expecting it to then. So I was thinking a bit more like a complete power boost, but I guess that's not it. It just, if you can charge it up, it makes like one attack a lot stronger. So in that sense, it's a lot like Wii Fit Trainer then.
I think in the trailer it took about like 1 second or so to I don't know if it started exactly at 0, but maybe at
I don't think it did.
25%.
I think it was already halfway filled when the
Yeah.
footage we saw of him charging the limit meter.
I don't think you can trust the trailer because they may have sped it up. I remember with the Little Mac one when they were showing off his OKO bar, it like charged up in about 5 seconds and Bowser went from having like 10% to about 120.
Yeah,
Right.
that was insane.
Good
Yeah,
point.
there's also the fact that we don't know if it's like how Samus would charge her neutral shot if you can save it and keep charging, or if it's a one-shot charge.
That's a good question.
I have a feeling you
Yeah.
won't be able to save it. I don't know, it's just a feeling.
That'd be nice. Make
How
it
does
easier.
it act in Final Fantasy?
So-
Can you save it?
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
it doesn't. It only really depletes once it fills and you use your limit break. So it actually does kind of carry over until you fill it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally all of his special moves are based off of limit breaks in the game, and to perform those you have to have a charged limit gauge, which charges after you take damage. So in this case, he can perform limit breaks in Smash without charging the limit gauge, but charging the limit gauge powers up his pre-existing limit breaks.
Right.
Makes sense.
Kind of
And
confusing.
this is something I was thinking about. I wonder if to kind of mirror the mechanic in Final Fantasy VII where you take damage. Taking damage is what fills your limit meter. So I wonder if maybe the meter in Smash will charge faster if you have higher percentage, making it kind of like a risk-reward type thing.
That would be
Which
cool.
I think would be pretty cool. So if you're at 2%, it's going to take forever to charge, and there's almost no point. But if you're at 90, then there's you're vulnerable, and it's a huge risk, but it'll charge fast.
Yeah,
Which could be
That'd
interesting.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that would be a really good idea.
It seems likely. There's a lot of catch-up mechanics just built into Smash. I mean, if you think
Yeah.
about it, it's just kind of the way the mechanics of Smash function. The fact that you can throw somebody off the stage and spike them is in itself almost a catch-up mechanic.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
in Smash 4, Wii U and 3DS, they added the rage mechanic, which makes
True.
you more powerful as you get more damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Even
makes
if you have
Aria
high percentage,
terrible to
you
fight
can
against.
still
Which is the
turn
opposite
around.
of what they wanted to do in Brawl.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I actually had, back in the speculation days talking about Shulk's move list, I had a very similar idea for Shulk that I was...
Sakurai stole it.
He did! That's what it was.
You better sue his ass.
But for the like Cloud's limit breaks, but using the talent gauge system there to charge it up, and then you would change your regular arts to your Monado arts. But they went a weird direction with Shulks.
Yeah. Very versatile though.
Yeah, I mean, and on that note, a common complaint that's kind of levied at Smash in general is there are too many quote-unquote, anime-haired swordsmen. But despite how you feel about that, I think it's pretty impressive that Sakurai has been able to differentiate them so much. I mean, Cloud plays completely differently from Shulk, who also plays differently from Mark, who plays differently from Ike. Like, even though there are a lot of spiky-haired swordsmen, they really are differentiated quite well.
Yeah, the playstyle is completely different between them.
Yeah.
Although watching the trailer and looking at some of the moves, I do think some of Cloud's moves might be taken a bit from Ike and a bit from Robin. Just having a look at, well, at least influence. I think I saw a couple of animations that were a bit similar to Robin's in the same sort of way that I know Roy had a lot of similar animations to Robin and Marth, obviously. I think Ike more so because of the fact that they both use giant swords, and I think it was easier to have a lot of their tilts and smash attacks be similar. I think it just comes naturally. So I think they kind of had a base to start with a bit, and then work from it.
Yeah, the only definitely Ike move that I saw was his back air, but a lot of the others kind of reminded me of Shulk. Oh, and his dash attack is very Ike.
Oh, it definitely is, yeah.
Yeah, he raises one elbow and hits with the entire blade of the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Mega Man.
Yeah.
So, Maskman, when you first saw Cloud being revealed, what was your initial reaction to it?
Well, FF7 was the first Final Fantasy game that I played, and I think it was actually my first proper RPG altogether. So it has a huge place in my heart. So to see him in Smash, it was something I had never imagined possible. But yeah, it was extremely satisfying. It was touching in a way to see, some of my favorite games truly coming together in a way that I never imagined possible. And like Ash, immediately, as soon as I saw the stars and heard that the bell tone, I knew it's Cloud. It just resonates. There's something so iconic about that opening. And yeah, it's just really exciting for me. I can't wait to play as him. And I also loved the homages to the original game in the trailer. I thought those were super clever.
Those are cool.
too.
Him stealing Wario's bike is probably my favourite one.
Yes, I love that. The one that actually I freaked out about was him dizzy on the King of Red Lions. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I was going to say that because it's so just vague. Like, so many people aren't even going to realize that.
Yeah. A lot of people got the Zelda one. They realized, oh, that's Aeris.
Yeah, I think that was the easiest one to get.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm missing some of them too. But those are the three, aside from, the Limit Break, or the Final Smash, which is kind of spoilery, so maybe we won't go into detail. Yeah.
Well, I think one of my favorite really kind of, it's really hard to notice unless you're really looking, but the actual splash screen where it says Cloud storms into battle. If you look closely, you can see the little cell-like squares that are used on the cover of the logo of Advent Children for the kind of represent the Genova cells in his body.
Ah, I wondered what those were. Okay.
Yeah, and I love
I saw that
touch.
Yeah.
See,
I've
actually
Advent Children costume.
Yeah,
and
Advent Children's probably the most I've seen from Cloud, having not beaten Final Fantasy VII, but have seen Advent Children twice.
Oh, no kidding.
So I noticed all a bunch of stuff like that, and how also because they've done really well with the Advent Children outfit. It's not like they've just slapped the clothes over him. His hair tone is different. His hairstyle is also he's got it's less spiky, but there's more of it coming off.
Yeah,
they've really made it really accurate to how it was portrayed in Advent Children.
I would have thought that the Kingdom Heart outfit would have been a more obvious alt costume than Advent Children for Smash Brothers, because Kingdom Hearts has had more of a legacy on Nintendo consoles. It's still, it's very clearly a PlayStation brand, but it's done a lot on the handhelds. So.
But I think when you think of Cloud, you think of Advent Children and Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, that's why they went with it. Although Cloud's first appearance on Nintendo is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for Game Boy Advance.
Right, on the GBA.
Which is where he appears in the Kingdom Hearts outfit. That's his very first Nintendo appearance.
Yeah.
And then Although it is curious when looking through the Direct again how much Square Enix stuff was shown off. We'll talk about everything else in the Direct in a bit. But there was Cloud was shown off in Final Fantasy Explorers, and then we had 2 Dragon Quests and Bravely Second all being highlighted.
Oh, that's true.
I think that might have been a big influence on why they revealed Cloud now rather than wait till December, because I'm really wondering how they're going to top Cloud.
Yeah, same here.
Honestly, I don't think their plan is to top Cloud. I think their plan is to use Cloud to generate hype and spur sales before release comes, so that people are definitely interested.
Before they reveal that it's Shovel Knight or something.
Yeah, or I mean, especially with Shovel Knight, because if they do release Shovel Knight as DLC, nobody knows. But if they do, he's unknown more or less in Japan, and his game is probably going to be released alongside DLC. In which case, they need some reason for people to get interested in even looking at him. And if they use Cloud for that, then at least people will be paying attention to these other DLC characters that they might know nothing about.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's true.
I was trying to think of who a Western equivalent to Cloud would be, kind of from a Western developer, and I really couldn't think of anything that really made sense. You know, Assassin's Creed is huge. I mean, you could always go that direction, but I think if we had Ezio and we didn't have Rayman, I think it would cause a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I think Rayman's the bigger Ubisoft one. But I think if you want a better argument, it's the one we've been having recently with Banjo-Kazooie and Master Chief.
Right.
Which one makes the better Microsoft rep?
Right.
Master Chief.
Right. I'm sorry.
Man.
Master Chief is we were talking about Mr. Fighting Game and Mr. JRPG. There's Mr. First Person Shooter. It's just.
I mean, you're not wrong, but it still sounds wrong, but you're not necessarily wrong about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not saying that we're going to get a Microsoft character, because that's kind of out there. We don't want to say that that's what we're saying. We were just having an argument that if we were going to get a Microsoft rep, does it make more sense for Banjo-Kazooie, who is almost a Nintendo character himself, or Master Chief, who is one of probably the biggest video game icon not in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's very much up there. He's one of the
The
top,
only-
along with Snake.
I mean, the
Yeah.
only issues I could think of that would be holding Master Chief back would be ratings issues, representing guns in the game, and then
I don't think they'd give him guns.
He could use a Covenant weapons. He could just use a bunch of lasers, I think.
Yeah, that's what someone on the Nintendo on Smashboard said. And then the other thing would be making a deal directly with Microsoft,
Right, and that's...
which is still kind of tricky.
And Microsoft doesn't treat the Halo series the way they treat their rare properties. Halo's like their golden child. There was...
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know I shared it with you guys, and I'm sure you're aware of it, Ash, the proposed Halo DS game that almost came out. or was
Yeah,
proposed.
I think I heard about it vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, there's some footage on there from IGN. I shouldn't say it almost came out. It was proposed, and there was some development done on it, but they decided not to move forward with it. But at the time, they did do things like Diddy Kong Racing, but Halo was, I guess, a step too far for Microsoft even then. So.
Well, and it's also, I mean, at the end of the day, Cloud is technically a Square Enix character. He's not a Sony
he's
character.
not.
So,
He's exactly.
yeah. Like, I mean, he's associated with PlayStation, but he's a third-party Square character.
Yeah, it's not like we're having Kratos or Nathan Drake or something. And like I
Exactly.
said, we weren't actually arguing for a Microsoft character. It was just a hypothetical conversation. That's why I want to make that
Right.
clear.
Right.
Between
I
us.
think a lot of people are having a similar discussion elsewhere. Like, you see a lot of people saying like, oh, now that Cloud is in, I guess Goku's gonna get into, which is completely preposterous.
Yeah.
Sakurai himself has said like, manga characters will not get in, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
But Western comics are fine, right? Batman can still get
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, DC's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
Marvel's
love
okay.
Batman, so that's okay.
I actually, back during the initial Smash hype cycle where characters getting revealed in picks of the day, I actually had a dream one night, more like a nightmare, that Batman was actually the latest confirmed newcomer. And I was crushed, because I'm like, wait, why is Batman in this game? Not that I dislike Batman, but I don't necessarily want him to Smash. And it was one of those like things where you wake up and you're like, oh, thank God, that was a dream.
Yeah.
Did he have a tether recovery? Because I feel like Batman would have a tether recovery, right?
He would have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Well, Push, you must be pretty glad to have Cloud be revealed here, considering that it finally gets rid of the fan notion that characters must be associated with Nintendo to be included in.
Yeah, that's
And I
something
know
that
you've
I've been like
posted
really
that
pounding on
translation
people
so
lately.
much on. Yeah, you've been posting that translation on Twitter so much recently to for
'cause-
everyone who's asking you.
Drive it home.
I feel like especially with Ryu and Cloud Strife, that like, we just really need to just drop all these fan theories. We just need to go back to the source and look at actually what Sakurai has said, and stop making up stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like we've been doing like Masked Man, Soma, Suda Man, and we've been doing so many translations of things that Sakurai has said.
Yeah.
And just trying to get the word out, like, hey, like this guy, he's not lying, he's not making up stuff. It's just the fact that the community has taken his words and ran in a completely different direction than what he originally intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people think like, oh, Sakurai just lies, like he says this but then he does that. No, that's not the case. If you look at what he's actually said, then I don't think he's ever like really contradicted himself in a big way.
No.
Well, no, yeah. No, he hasn't.
Yeah,
It's hard
I think there are things saying where like he's never outright like denied DLC, but he always said it wasn't on the cards for a very long time, and so you have to bring in when it did appear on the cards, because you have Gamatsu saying that it was that they decided it around May, April, like they were discussing it before May, April of 2014. But then you have like other sources that say it was only until September or October and the 3DS game was already out that they decided on Mewtwo. And so you have to think which one of these
with
which one
with that
clashes
one
with what Sakurai
in
said.
that interview, Sakurai said that he wasn't working on DLC. He didn't say it wasn't on the table. He just said he wasn't.
The
working
man
on it.
speaks in riddles, so it's kind of hard for him to contradict himself.
Yeah.
And
Japanese
so, like-
lends itself to vague expressions, so I think
Yeah.
that kind of helps him in a lot of ways.
Well, and,
Alright,
and,
well-
and so much... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, finish your point first.
I was saying, so much of the Smash community is just they have such a strange relationship with Sakurai, because I don't think I've ever been a part of any other fan base or community that seems to have the vast majority or a wide swath of it hate its creators so much, like so vehemently that they'll willingly misconstrue it and kind of change his words and accuse him of lying. And I feel like Sakurai really is one of the only high-profile developers that's subject to all of this. He's not the only one, but people really, really go all out on just misconstruing his words and really making him look bad when he isn't at all.
Sakurai hates Metroid and Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah.
Would never want to see any of that.
Oh, totally.
He hates Ridley. I mean, despite the fact that Ridley is the only non-Pokemon character, I mean, besides Wispy Woods and like the Bomb, that has been in every Smash Brothers game in some way.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't
3DS.
realize Ridley's important, even though he's mentioned in, I don't know, the Ridley thing in particular always bothers me, because I don't necessarily agree with Sakurai. I think you could kind of put Ridley in there, and I want Ridley in the game. However, like, I feel like if he didn't like Ridley or didn't care about Ridley, Ridley would be in the game just because people want him. I think he genuinely thinks that it would be a disservice to Ridley to put him in as a character.
Yeah.
Like that's
I agree.
what he thinks, and that's why he doesn't do it. If he didn't care about Ridley, it would actually be better for Ridley fans in that way.
Yeah.
I have a couple of points. I think one of the major issues is that Smash is just born from hype. It's just like everyone is just so
Born
excited.
from a world
like,
of hype.
Yeah, it only knows hype. Like you have people who are just so excited to see their favorite characters. You have so many different series. You have so many different types of characters represented. So you have lots of different kinds of people involved in the community. And because of that, like you're never gonna please everyone, and you can't please everyone all the time, especially.
Right.
So Sakurai tries to find a balance between catering to all the different kinds of fans, and that is really strenuous. Like with other games, like they have a clear fan base. They have like when you have Zelda fans, they just like Zelda. But with Smash, you have Zelda fans, you have Mario fans, you have Pokemon fans, you have Star Fox fans, you have Metroid fans. You have all these different types of people, and it's just like how do you direct a game like
it's
that?
hilarious too, especially you bring up something like Pokemon, because you have Pokemon fans that are all like, proportionally based off of how big of a franchise is in sales, we have way too few Pokemon characters. We need like 10 more Pokemon characters. And then you have people that don't like Pokemon that are all like, why are there so many Pokemon? This is ridiculous. I need another anime swordsman.
Yeah.
That's another point that I want to make is that Sakurai's not a businessman. He's an artist. Like, people are always like, oh, Sakurai is, he's just trying to promote or publicize Nintendo games and everything like that. That's why you need a Nintendo rep. That's why Black Mage makes sense. And it's like, no, he's an artist. Like, this is his canvas, and he's painted on it, and, like...
He definitely has a vision.
Yeah, the only time it's ever been an issue of marketing and stuff was with Roy and Melee, and even then... Was it Sakurai's decision to put Roy in, or was it
Sakurai's decision, and he chose Roy partly because of that gimmick. He's like, this is the only character that's going to be released in Smash before the actual game, so I hope this is like a unique draw. Plus, on top of that, the characteristics and the unique playstyle that Roy offers vis-a-vis Marth, he thought that was really interesting. Like,
right, because I mean, all the clones there were straight clones. There was no moveset changes, just property changes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it made the characters pretty unique, but having the fire compared to like Sigurd or something would make Roy visually stand out a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sigurd and Marth would have been way too similar. Sigurd would just be like a taller version of him, essentially, but they're both blue-haired swordsmen who don't have any sort of elemental ties to anything.
Right.
I think Leaf or Roy would have been the only two logical choices to have as a Marth clone, and Roy was the more relevant, better one, I think, at the time.
That's true, yeah.
Right. Well, moving off, just to the Cloud wasn't the only thing revealed in that trailer. We also got Midgar as a stage.
Yes.
And
looks so good.
We'll start with your impressions first, Spazzy, on Midgar.
Midgar was awesome. I'm actually a lot more excited for the stage than I am for Cloud. Like, Cloud looks okay to play as, but I'm already locked into Shulk as my sword main and Link is my ult, so I'm okay. I'm okay there. I don't
want to cheat on them.
Right. I mean, I'm actually kind of jealous that Cloud has a projectile though. That's another thing I wanted for Shulk.
Yeah.
Like, I get backslash because it's a move you use so much in the game, but it's awful. It's awful in Smash. it's pretty okay in free-for-alls actually, because you can just kind of wreck people. But
when they play a Smash, everyone Shulk. Backslash only.
Yeah. I'm like, give me Monado Purge, just whatever.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, but I mean, he looks good. Just real quick on Cloud himself, he looks good. But the stage looked wonderful. I'm still wondering how the summon system works, because you see Cloud, grab the summon. I don't know if there's materia or what exactly it is. He does, and then summon it. So I'm wondering if it's.
I'm wondering. I think the materia thing might have just been his entrance animation. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think it might just be something along the lines of the Pokemon in Ends Castle on 3DS. Like, you either randomly get Zekrom or you randomly get Reshiram. I think it's just like that.
True.
You'll randomly get one of the summons.
That kind of goes against, I feel like, the entire concept of the summon is that it's, it's on somebody's team. The summons don't act independently of anything. I mean, not in our realm anyways.
When all the summon animations are happening in the trailer, Cloud is glowing red, this time as opposed to blue with the limit charge. And in one of the screenshots released by Nintendo of Europe, I think, there's a big red orb floating around, and Cloud, Wii Fit Trainer, and I want to say Falco are trying to reach for it. So I think the materia floats onto the stage, and then whoever grabs it first takes charge of the summon, calls whatever summon it is, and then they're immune to its effects.
Okay.
Interesting.
With how much it affects the stage, though, I'm wondering how really doable that is. I mean, there's so much, like, with the water summon, I don't actually know any of their names.
Leviathan.
Bahamut or whatever. But yeah, the water one just comes in and completely floods the arena.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how, like, the player who summons it is meant to be immune to that. Do they just like the effects? They can just pass through the water. It would look really
when
weird.
you summon Nintendog as an assist trophy, it affects you.
Yeah. You're not always immune to the things that you summon, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it would just be, when it comes to, splitting the stage apart,
You just don't get
Actually, in the
damaged.
trailer, I don't remember who it is on the stage, but when the stage gets split apart, whoever's standing there does get blown away. So possibly,
Yeah,
it
you
is.
think it's
Cloud
King
King
Dedede.
yeah, I thought so. So it's that sort of thing. Well, the stage would split apart, but if you were standing there, you'd probably fall down because there's a hole, but you wouldn't be blown away. You just probably would be
takes a
immune to
couple
the damage
seconds to
effects.
split.
Yeah.
I have to say, when that stage got split apart, that was like the part that sold me on that stage, because it just looked like Battlefield.
Right.
And I was like sitting there thinking, oh, this is just like they've kind of done a Battlefield clone, meh. And then suddenly, stage gets split in half. One of the sides lowers down slightly, and they burst apart. And I was like, wow, okay, this is
Yeah.
suddenly
Cool.
really dynamic.
I wonder
now.
how much it's going to be different on the 3DS version.
I think the
good
summons
question.
will be I think the summons will be less frequent. If maybe there won't be as many of them. If Mario Maker stage was anything to go by, I think there'll be like, instead of being 5 possible summons, there'll be 3, and they'll come much less frequently.
That would certainly make sense.
Yeah, that could happen. I would just like it if, even if there's only one summon on the 3DS, if it was Shiva, that would make me really happy, because like my one major disappointment with Midgar is that Shiva has been left out, and Shiva's always been like my favorite, idol and guardian force, whatever you want to call them.
I love Shiva.
Yeah,
Probably
she's
my
always so
favorite,
cool. Literally.
Yeah.
But Midgar did, when I saw it, I also thought about something that's been going on with the DLC stages a lot, actually. Because the design is obviously Battlefield, with elements thrown into it. And it's a very simple design, and that's been quite a recurrence with the DLC. With the exception of Mario Maker, where the whole point is to make the level itself, so it's random.
Yeah.
Shizuka Castle is also really simple in design.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
a
unusual at least.
handful of
But
platforms.
It is
Yeah.
unusual though. Like it's not exactly like, it's not Miiverse or Midgar. It does have kind of an unusual layout.
yeah.
It's an unusual layout, but in you have like the layout for Shizuka Castle, but nothing happens on it. There's no obstacles, no like dynamic attacks onto the level or anything like that.
Well,
It's very plain.
Street Fighter, it makes complete sense for, because Street Fighter is, it's a traditional fighting game. You're not supposed to have a bunch of crazy elements. It's supposed to kind of reflect that. So, I mean, as far as the stage goes, I think that is kind of perfect. Also, once again, I think we have to all kind of keep in mind that they're trying to put the DLC stages both on the Wii U and 3DS, and they couldn't with Pirate Ship. So they have to try to keep it a little bit simpler, because you're not going to put something overly complicated. Like I said, I'm curious how Midgar is going to be on the 3DS, to be honest.
Also, like, half the stages that have been released as DLC have been the 64 stages,
That's
which
a good point.
are just a recreation. So, like, saying that they're kind of simple, I think it's kind of a disservice to, like, what they either represent or...
Well, what I mean is more so, if you look at the stages that were already included in the game and compare them to the DLC ones, the DLC stages are definitely chosen because they're a lot easier to make, I guess. They
Maybe up
require
until
a lot
now,
less.
but I think maybe the last 2 or 3, however many we get, I think I think Midgar looks amazing.
Yeah,
Like
for
it's
sure.
very
Yeah.
impressive. Like if that could have easily fit in the base game.
I'm wondering
as,
if
like,
we're going to
a
have...
full-
I'm wondering if we're going to... Oh, also I'm wondering if items are off, if we're still going to get summon orbs. Or if we can just have another battlefield.
that's good.
That's a good
clone,
question, actually.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder if they'll count them as separate.
Which would
I wonder
actually
if
make...
player Smash will
eight-player Smash will probably just
how
have a
frequently the
Battlefield
orbs appear, if at all.
You know, I bet they will still appear, because that's kind of like almost like a stage hazard or
Yeah.
a stage boss, so I kind of feel like they will appear even with items off.
Yeah.
No, but with items off, but in 8-player, I mean, Ridley gets cancelled and Yellow Devil gets
Oh,
cancelled.
yeah.
Stuff, so
Yeah,
will the
no way
summons
they'll
get
appear in
cancelled
8-player.
as well.
Yeah, the 8-player version might be limited if they even have an 8-player version.
Well, dude,
Like,
I think they will.
they will. It'll just be
8
Battlefield. that's
Pirate
all.
Ship.
Do they have 8-player versions of the other DLC character stages?
Yeah,
Only
Ryu.
Pirate Ship doesn't.
Pirate Ship
all the
doesn't,
oth-
but the rest
But
will.
the other ones do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And I think that's what I mean, like, with their slightly simpler design, it, like, accommodates 8-player as well.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
also have to think that the only non-returning stages we've got have been with newcomers, and Clouds looks pretty complex. I mean, they gave it an easy base, but it's, you know, much like M's Castle, they gave it an easy base because lots of stuff happens. And then Ryu's, which is simple because of the game he comes from, because it's supposed to be reflective of that, you know? So I think we'd have to see more, and Mario Maker, which isn't simple. So I think we'd have to see more new stages to really draw any sort of conclusion.
To gauge.
Well, one good thing Midgar does is we get Final Fantasy music.
Yes.
I wonder if they'll all come from 7, or if they'll do Final Fantasy in general, or if we'll even get something like Chrono Trigger's theme. Or
I
the
doubt
Dragon
it.
Quest
As much as I would
theme.
love that, I doubt it.
I would love it,
Yeah,
but
I
licensing
think
is going to be really hard.
Yeah, I think it will just be Final Fantasy. I don't think they'll all come from 7. I think we might get a focus on Final Fantasy themes specifically from Nintendo 1s and then 7, just because I think they'll be more recognizable almost. But I mean, that's just my thoughts.
I think it'll be mostly 7.
I think it'll be mostly 7.
from
I could maybe
4 and 6. So
With
yeah.
with Suzaku Castle, the two, like, Yu's theme and Ken's theme, they're both the, like, Street Fighter 2 versions, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, arranged, of course, but yeah, so I have a feeling they'll probably do that with the two pieces that we heard in the trailer. Everything was Let the Battles Begin and Fight On.
Yeah, I mean,
Titles.
I think it'll mostly be FF7 music. I could maybe see like a track or two from 6 maybe sneaking on there, and I could maybe see like Blinded by Light from 13 maybe making on there. But like, I think it is mostly going to be 7, which it should be. I mean, that's appropriate. And you know, I assume it'll be like a split between, you know, original soundtrack music and arrangements. You know, probably mostly original soundtrack music, but a few arrangements. But I don't. Can you imagine being the person who has to, I guess it's Sakurai in this case, who has to select which songs to include and which, that's like picking a favorite child. How do you choose? How do you eliminate songs from a Final Fantasy VII soundtrack? That's
Yeah, I know. That's
He's already done it
It's
for
a masterpiece.
He's already done it for so many other like franchises. So I mean, he's got to be an expert at it by now.
I know,
That's true.
There are two tracks I would think would really work for this. I think one would be kind of like they had the Mega Man 1 through 6 medley, and I think a classic Final Fantasy medley would be really good.
Oh, that would be
From 1 till 6 at least. And then the other one is One Winged Angel.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be in
I
there.
think that's almost
It'll
a
be there.
guarantee.
I just hope it's the Advent Children version and not the OST version, just because I don't think it's aged very well. But I love the live version. Yeah.
real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, kind of like an unorthodox choice, but one that I think would really work if you're in really epic character matchups would be Sid's theme. Like,
okay, sure.
It's not orthodox at all, but I feel like, you know, you have like those, you know, Mario versus Sonic or Mega Man versus Sonic or Cloud, you know, whatever. But yeah, kind of that epic sound, that kind of epic, you know, sad sound of Sid's theme would work really well for kind of a really cool matchup like that.
Dum, dum, dum,
Exactly.
Dum, 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 dum. It is a good theme. Ugh. I really hope that they put in the main theme from FF7.
Oh, yeah.
I think the High Wind theme, like when you're flying in the airship, is a remix or an arrangement of that theme. And if they put that in, I would be over the moon. More than I already am.
Yeah, I really want Judgment Day in there. The when you're fighting through the Northern Crater, that's got to be in there,
Yes.
right?
The chimes like come in every so often.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, this could be a discussion by itself, just talking about FF7 music.
I just give me like, I don't know, like Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI or something. Just something.
all 15 minutes.
Yes, all of it. Like, I need some crazy. I don't know. Like, okay, you guys were talking about like, oh, Final Fantasy VII was my first Final Fantasy. I started Final Fantasy on the Super Nintendo. I remember.
I did too.
Yeah, I remember waiting for 7 to come out. I remember frantically trying to log onto dial-up AOL to look at the trailer for Final Fantasy 64 and being blown away and being like, hey, those are the characters from Final Fantasy 6. That's weird.
Yeah,
That's fine. They
you
should
and I,
use those
like
guys.
AOL and Prodigy, like you and I are kindred souls, because I remember doing the exact same thing.
yeah,
my
it was-
first Final Fantasy was 6.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful trying to wait there to download a like 1 minute video.
Yeah.
Via LimeWire, no less.
That was even before LimeWire.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, dude, I don't think you realize how far back we're talking here.
Pre-LimeWire, yeah.
This is pre
We're,
Nintendo
we're,
64.
we're dating ourselves pretty
Yeah.
badly right now.
See, I feel so out of touch with this. 'Cause I think my first Final Fantasy was 6, but I played it on the Wii Virtual Console. That was the first time I'd ever played a Final
Okay.
Fantasy game.
This
When
is
it was technically Final Fantasy 3, as they like
Right.
to call it over it.
Oh,
Yeah.
in the US, yeah.
yeah. This is my history of Japanese RPGs and how I got into them. I actually had a friend that had Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, which I played a couple of times, but I wasn't really into because that's not a game you go over to somebody's house and play as a small child.
No.
No.
You play it for like 10 minutes and you're like, this is awful. This is
Yeah.
awful. Let's play Contra, is what you say.
It's funny because that's exactly what I did. It turned me off from the series at first.
Yeah.
That's my Kingdom Hearts experience.
But
Oh, yeah?
yeah, on the Super Nintendo, I was really, really into A Link to the Past. Like I was a big Zelda fan on the NES, and when I finally got this game, like, and it's funny because now looking back on it, it seems dumb, but the fact that it was raining when the game started, like, blew me away. And then, like, it wasn't raining, like, the weather changed. Oh my god. But, I was a huge fan, and I was looking for other experiences that were close to it, which led me to Final Fantasy Adventure, which led me to Secret of Mana, which, you know, was an action RPG, so it had a lot of the same elements, which led me to Final Fantasy VI when it came out, which then led me back to Final Fantasy IV, which kind of got me into the whole genre. And then shortly after Final Fantasy X, I was like, I can't do this anymore. These games are linear and boring.
Oh man, see, 10's my favorite. This is breaking my heart right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just I was just burnt
No, it's
out
okay.
from years. I was like burnt out from years of JRPGs when it came out. But I played
No, I
like
understand.
I played like 40 minutes of it, and I'm still just like running to the right and occasionally getting a cutscene or a random battle.
Right.
Like, I can't do this.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I can hurt all of your feelings by saying that Final Fantasy 13 is the only one I've ever beaten.
You know what?
And
Actually,
I'm far worse. I've only played like an hour of 10, and I think 10 minutes of 10 too.
you actually would not hurt my feelings because I thought I would be the only one here who would say that he liked 13, but I am a big fan of the whole 13 series. So you have a fan. I'm fine with that.
I didn't have a problem with 13.
Yeah,
Well, that's nice to
I
know.
like
There are 3 of
13.
us in here that didn't, because
Yeah.
it's so
It
rare
wa-
to find people
yeah.
who don't hate 13.
It wasn't as good as 6 and 10, but 13 was still an enjoyable game. I think I played it a lot more than I did 12 and 10-2. 10-2, I've done the tutorial fights and then I gave up.
Uh-huh.
I decided I should probably beat 10 before starting 10-2. And then never went back to 10 as well. So
No, I got
I have
you.
a lot of Final Fantasy catching.
Well, thinking back, it's kind of a miracle that I ever got into JRPGs in the first place, because my first exposure to them was actually my buddy got me a Super Nintendo game as a birthday present when I was like 8 or 9 or something, and that game was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and that
Oh,
speaks for
wow.
itself. So I was like, well, this game sucks, and I didn't have it. This is not fun at all. So I just put it away and never really looked at it again. And then back in the day, this is the days of game magazines. So like
Right.
EGM, GamePro, Nintendo Power kept talking about this game, Final Fantasy 3, and I'm like, well, that's that same stupid series that was boring, but everyone loves this game. I guess I should try it. So I rented it from Blockbuster, and the rest is history. I was like, this is not what happened. Like there's Mystic Quest, but then there's this, and it's so much better. And then of
Yeah.
course Chrono. I was like, once I finished 3 or 6, I was like, there's no way that any game can ever top this. And then Chrono Trigger came out the following year, and there you go.
Yeah.
I think Pokemon was my gateway RPG. I think
Ah.
for the longest time Pokemon was probably the only RPG I'd played until Mother and Fire Emblem. And then I think Chrono Trigger was probably the big one when it finally... because it never came out in Europe, Chrono Trigger. So I didn't get to play it until it came out on DS.
I don't think I knew that. That's a travesty.
Yeah, Super Mario RPG and Chrono Trigger never came out in Europe.
Whoa.
That
that's
is
terrible.
horrible.
Yeah, so
Oh my
Mario
God.
RPG I didn't play until the Virtual Console, which they treated it as one of the Hanabi Festival titles that we got along with Sin and Punishment and Mario Super.
Wow, interesting.
I had no idea. That's insane.
I don't think I knew that.
Wow. SMRPG is so good.
Yeah, I mean, both those games, I mean, that's really.
And I mean Earthbound as well. So Earthbound never got released in Europe as well. So Europe
Yeah, I
was
think I
very
knew that.
RPG
Oh my
struck.
God. You guys have missed out on so much good stuff.
That's terrible.
That was your punishment for liking the Sega Master System better than the NES. Sorry.
the last part of this segment I want to talk about is quickly back onto Cloud, and that is, do we think Cloud is a ballot character? Now, me and Push are in opposition with this, so I'll be curious to hear what you other three think before me and Push give our opinions. So let's start with Marsman this time.
I would say yes. It's funny because I was looking back at some of Sakurai's old tweets today, and after the Lucas presentation, when he first started talking about DLC and the ballot to begin with, he mentioned that he won't be taking any requests directly, but if you have anything to say and you have any requests, then forward them to the Smash Ballot page, and he posted a link, and that was that. And then recently, when Cloud was revealed, he also used the same word, and I know it's semantic and silly, but the same word he used in the original Smash Ballot tweet, he then used in reference to Cloud, like, I fulfilled a rather difficult request, what do you think? So, from my perspective, just linguistically speaking, it suggests that Cloud was something that he saw in the ballot votes, thought, this sounds like a great idea, and ran with it.
That's so interesting to me, just because I had never even considered the possibility that Cloud was a ballot character, because I just didn't think that was possible until actually you guys told me about the tweets that you translated, Sakurai's most recent tweets, and exactly what you just said about how he fulfilled a fairly difficult request, and I can't deny that kind of makes it sound like he is the ballot character. But prior to that, I hadn't even considered that he was. I didn't think Cloud was, but maybe he is.
Spazzy?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a ballot character. We have, at the very least, 2 more coming. That seems to probably be the ceiling. Hopefully we get more than that, but looks like we'll have 3, and based off of the slots that were data mined earlier. And it's not just a ballot choice. These are the choices from the ballot, is what I think. I don't think there's going to be just one winner. And
yeah, no, I don't think anyone.
Yeah, and I think it could go either way. I think he fits so much in the same mold as Ryu, as somebody that represents an entire genre, that I could see him being picked for that. However, yeah, the tweets do make it sound like he's a ballot choice, and I could, Push was going off on this, I think last podcast actually, how the Smash speculation scene is not the majority of Smash fans. So there's maybe 10,000 of us that are loud on the internet, and there are, 12 million people that bought Brawl or whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
It's not a direct one-to-one comparison what you see on fan polls. And on top of that, like it was mentioned earlier, I saw more Brawl PSAs and Brawl mods for Cloud than any other video game character.
For sure.
And so I know the demand is there. And if people aren't listening to kind of these arbitrary rules where they think, oh, we need to vote just for characters that are important to Nintendo, which, by the way, Final Fantasy is important to Nintendo, and Nintendo is important to Final Fantasy. It's just Cloud. It's just Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Which is something else people kind of have to realize is that the NES game Final Fantasy was named Final Fantasy because it was their final game. If that game if that game hadn't succeeded, SquareSoft would have gone under. It's incredibly important, and it was a selling point for the Super Nintendo were the JRPGs. Unlike almost every other company that at least tested the waters with Sega, your Capcom and your Konami's, Squaresoft and Enix, by the way, different companies at the time, both remained Nintendo exclusive. Which is why Sega had to do stuff like make Phantasy Star, because they had to make their own JRPGs. But yeah, so there's a lot of history there. But if people were just looking at Cloud as a video game character I want and not a video game character that I think should be in Smash, we don't know what people voted on. So I could very clearly see him be, maybe not a top 5, but even if you're, I think, in this ballot, a top 20 vote, Sakurai would look at it and consider it, and if it fit his criteria, he would do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to contradict what I said a few seconds ago, in that I do think that there is only going to be one ballot winner. I don't think Cloud is it. It's definitely one of the 3, but looking at the data mined ones, we had 2 characters that had at least been started since with April, at least. Maybe not actually started development on, but at least they decided in April we have these 2 characters, and then one was added later. And I think the one that was added later is the ballot winner. which means I don't think Cloud is one. I do recognize the tweet, but what I think is, as Ryu was Mr. Fighting Game, I do think Cloud was chosen as Mr. RPG. There's no way Sakurai didn't know that Cloud was going to be a very popular character. Just looking at the Brawl mods ever since Brawl, probably maybe even since Melee, Sakurai has known that Cloud is popular. He knows that fans are going to be over the moon having him in Smash Brothers. He doesn't need the Smash ballot to show him that. So I have this distinct feeling that Cloud has been decided long before the Smash ballot was chosen upon.
For sure.
And it was just pushed back, like they wanted to get the veterans out first, and then between Cloud and Ryu, they just went with Ryu first. And now they're doing Cloud, and whoever the other two are going to be that are coming out.
Well, one thing I want to bring up, sorry, just real quick, because I saw people comment this on, different YouTube comments for different videos, and on SourceGaming, and in other places, other forums and stuff, that I don't see how Cloud could be so close to being complete if he's a ballot character. One thing I just really want to stress is that while they were taking all of this information the entire time the ballot was going on, most ballots like this are very front-loaded. So they were probably already working on, they had a great idea of what was going on and were probably already working on things from, maybe a month after the ballot started. They weren't
I think they already knew who their ballot winner was by the time the E3 had rolled around. I think they had already decided by that point who was going to be the winner.
Yeah,
right.
That's
very possible.
And this information is going to be used, and they say it in the Japanese one, right? Right, Push, that this information will be used for future Smash games as well, so...
You're taking everything that I was going to say.
Okay, I'm sorry. Come on. We'll just edit me out. We'll edit out all of my audio and you just talk now.
So, the first thing is, no one said that it was a popularity contest. They said it was a suggestion. Like, they said, vote for a character and we might use them,
Yes.
In the Japanese version, it does say that the data might be used for future games. Not a guarantee, but it might be. Which makes sense because they've had a ballot in every release since 64. This is the first one that's open to English speakers, so a lot of people are unfamiliar with it and the process. One thing that I've always tried to highlight, especially in the last couple months, was if there were a Smash 2 poll. And in that poll, he actually does give the results. That's the only poll that he does give the results. In the Brawl, he doesn't give the results at all. He doesn't even give really good responses. Just like once every 30 messages or so. But in the Melee, you can clearly see, even if the characters were in the top 10, it didn't guarantee them a spot. There's a lot more that goes into character selection and who gets in, not just votes. Okay, that's my first point. Second point is, as he was saying before, the Smash community is very insular. We tend to echo, there's an echo chamber effect. Everyone's like, oh, King K. Rool is popular, and he's he's the ballot winner. He's the one that's guaranteed getting, because Donkey Kong needs another rep. But if you go outside and you go out to the general public and ask people, what's your favorite Donkey Kong Country character? They're gonna say Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong. Not a lot of people know about King K. Rool. When the costume was revealed, I actually showed it to my coworkers, who are gamers. They play Bravely Default. They have 3Ds and everything. They didn't know who King K. Rool was.
Oh, wow.
They were like, why is this crocodile in Smash?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's the antagonist of Donkey Kong Country. And they're like, who? The games, King K. Rool has been so far removed. And it's not just him. It's Isaac. It's a lot of the other characters that are so popular within the community.
Yeah.
It's I've been saying for months, you gotta take the general population. You can't cater to just the minority. And that's even something that Chris Pranger has said in the podcast that got him fired.
Yeah.
The Nintendo localizer is saying that the Smash fan base online is very small but very loud, and it's very present, but it's not the majority. And I think the Smash fan base should have really listened to that podcast, because that was kind of like a warning for this whole thing.
Yeah, and I think touching off your point about K. Rool is that ultimately DLC is a commodity, and I know that Sakurai has his idea for what he wants in the game, this vision, but at the end of the day, DLC is paid content and they want it to sell, and if they have to pick between a widely known popular character whose appeal spans across all borders, or a relatively niche character that will please a huge faction in an insular community, he's gonna pick the former, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah, and like that's why like Cloud gotten over Black Mage or Geno, like
sure.
because Cloud has such a wide support base to draw from, and there was another point, but I forgot. I'll come back.
Well, a lot of fans seem patently unable to look at things from anything other than a fan's perspective, and it seems like just utterly insane to them to look at things from a financial or a business or executive perspective. I mean, I've been arguing with so many people on Twitter who are like, well, this is stupid, Cloud is stupid because it should have been Terra. And it's like, okay, look, I would have loved to have Terra in the game. I love FF6, Terra's awesome. But how many people outside of you and me and Final Fantasy fans know who the hell Terra is?
I don't know who Terra is.
Exactly. She's the protagonist of FF6, that's my point.
Right.
But
She's awesome.
Yeah, I would have preferred Terra, but I do completely understand. Even when looking, that's why I was so unsure if Final Fantasy would get a rep, because apart from Cloud and Chocobo, I guess, and Black Mage, there really isn't anyone who completely stands out. Maybe Lightning is getting close to that because of recent years.
Yeah.
But most people just forget about the Final Fantasy protagonist and move on to the next one almost, except for the fans of the series.
I think
Tidus might be coming out.
I was gonna say, I think if any of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy protagonists get in, it would almost have to be Cecil. Because 4 is kind of that seminal Final Fantasy that kind of set up the formula and kind of introduced the storytelling kind of elements into it. Because before that, the protagonist was more kind of somebody you name, and it was a lot more, I feel like, interchangeable. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I've always got the feeling that in Japan, Final Fantasy IV is just not the most popular, but maybe one of the most beloved games in the series.
It's definitely well regarded.
Yeah, there's just something,
I think so.
Something kind of special about it. Like it was the only one of the classic games to get a sequel, and it was one of the first. I think after Final Fantasy X-2, it was the first one to get a proper sequel.
Yeah, the after years.
Yeah, which was also, by the way, originally a Nintendo exclusive, and then it went to cell phones as well, and then to
That's
PSP
true, it was
or something.
WiiWare exclusive.
Yeah, but it was a WiiWare exclusive. So I would have thought Cecil would have been the one. As much I like 6 better than 4 personally, but Terra isn't a very strong protagonist. Although I think first of all, she's not as recognizable either. But Final Fantasy 6 always felt more like an ensemble cast to me.
6 is all about Sellies. Like, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Hey, 6 is all about Kefka, okay?
Okay.
I mean, even Locke, Edgar, like all of the characters had. I mean, it's not like 7 was Cloud's story.
Yeah.
6 was Terra's story. I mean, she kind of kicked it off. I don't really want to belittle her. I mean, she's a great character, but it's not the same. It's not like Cloud. Like you could take away almost any other character. I mean, I guess Tifa and Aerith also are kind of important. But
They're pretty crucial.
But it's Cloud. You are Cloud. Cloud's the game, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can beat 6 without ever recruiting half of the people you had in your party again.
Yeah,
that is
a good
true.
point.
Including Terra, actually. Isn't she optional? It's been years since I played 6.
No, I think she's mandatory.
Is she?
No, I think she's one of the few that is.
Yeah, because you start off as okay.
Celis, and then you get Sabin and Edgar, and then I think she's required, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah,
I would assume Edgar, Sabin, Locke, and Terra were all required. I mean, and with Cecil, they're like the 5 really important Final Fantasy VI characters, and the rest are all pretty optional.
Yeah.
Some of them you're mandatory have to get in the beginning, but ones like Mog and Shadow.
Tomorrow.
Right, but there's also characters that you don't need to go back and recruit in 6. That's part of the... Because there's a point in 6, I don't want to do too many spoilers, but...
Yeah, I know.
where basically you lose all of your characters and you restart with one character and you have to go and recruit them.
Yeah, it's the furthest I've ever got in 6 is that point. Every time I replay it, it's always that point and then I stop for some reason.
But even the fact that we can kind of have this conversation should let you know that 6 isn't, it's not like 7 in that way. And then on top of that, it's just not as big of a game as 7. I mean, I wish it was. I love 6, but 7 is the iconic game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say that the sociopathic part of me would have loved the character to be Lightning just to see the mountains upon mountains of salt on the internet.
Yeah.
That's what they would have done on...
burned down that day.
That's what they would have done for PlayStation All-Stars, by the way, with New Dante, with Raiden.
Oh,
if they had a Final Fantasy character, it would have been Lightning. I 100%. Like, I know it in my heart.
Oh, for sure.
They had Raiden instead of Snake because Metal Gear Revengeance was the newest one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I remember. I mean, I enjoy PlayStation All Stars enough, and I kept holding out hope that Lightning would be added as DLC. And of course, she wasn't. But if Lightning had been the character added to Smash instead of Cloud, I would have had a field day. Not because I even love Lightning. I think she's a fine character, but just because of all the salt. Can you even imagine?
Yeah, even worse than it is now.
Yeah.
Well, when you do look up Final Fantasy on Google image search, it pulls up images of Lightning and Cloud. Like, those are the two characters that appear. So if it wasn't Cloud, it was probably going to be Lightning.
Yeah, Lightning's the biggest one currently because 13 was such a huge game. I think there wasn't a really big gap between 12 and 13.
Yeah, it was.
12 was 2006 and 13 was 2009, if I remember correctly.
Okay, because things went weird after, because there was 10, and then 11 was a MMO, and then 12 wasn't like a turn-based strategy, it was more like a real-time strategy RPG, right?
It was almost like Xenoblade, if I remember correctly.
It kind of was.
And so I don't think it did as well because of that, and so then there was a long gap, and then 13 was the kind of big revival, making it look really cinematic and stuff.
Yeah.
14 was another MMO, so we're waiting on 15, and in that time we've had 13, 13-2, and 13 Lightning Returns.
Yeah, in the last 10 years that we've been waiting for 15, yeah.
Yeah. It's coming, though.
One last point, though, is that the niche characters that I was meant to talk about before, those characters are the ones that you'll see revealed, or probably one of them will be revealed at an E3 trailer whenever the next Smash game comes out. Like, I could totally see King K. Rool, finally gets his day at the E3 next Smash game.
I can see that, sure.
How could they possibly top this Smash game, though, at this point? I mean, really think about it. How could they possibly top this roster?
It's a tall order.
I mean, I'm not even sure if it's a tall order. We have a roster that includes Mega Man, Sonic, Cloud, Ryu, Pac-Man. I mean, is this possible to top?
Yeah.
Can you top this roster?
Part of me wonders if they'll pull a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and keep almost like 1/3 of the roster and then make everyone else new. Keep all of the proper mainstream, like the ones that you can't get rid of, like Mario, Link, Samus.
Yeah.
The Fox, Kirby, Pikachu.
I don't think Sakurai works like that, though.
No, I don't think he does. It really depends if Sakurai will continue to make Smash after this.
Yeah, that's a whole...
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion. I was going to say, I think we've talked about Cloud for a very long time.
Yeah, we have.
Understandable.
I would like to move on to the next segment, so if everyone's okay with that, I want to move on. Alright, and in this section we're going to be talking about the other big Smash news from the Nintendo Direct, and that is in December we will be getting another Smash presentation, much like the one we had last June, where Roy, Ryu and Lucas were appeared. So we'll start this with Maskman.
Yes.
And what did you think about this big announcement for the big December presentation?
Yeah, well, my first thought was that, like you mentioned, it harkened back to the presentation we got in June with Lucas, Roy, and you. So I imagine that given the data mining that happened that suggested that we'd be getting 3 characters total, that it will be structured very similarly, where they'll showcase the 3 characters, and then not long after the presentation, all 3 will be available for download, of course, purchase. And I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really cool to see these characters in action and get Sakurai's take on the development and what each of these characters is supposed to do. But both Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo Co. Limited have mentioned that this is going to be the last special presentation for Smash 3DS Wii U. So I think I think it does mean that DLC is finally coming to an end, and that kind of makes me sad, as excited as I am for the presentation.
Yeah, I can imagine the news is upsetting a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially those who really don't consider Cloud as a ballot capture or any of these characters coming in December. A lot of people are obviously like, oh, but the ballot only just ended, so how could they have ballot characters ready in time now for December? And the answer is, well, they don't if they just started in October. So I know a lot of people are hoping there'll be one until March, and I mean, I would like one to be there to come out in March, just randomly like, this is the ballot winner revealed right at the very end, just in a regular direct rather than a Smash one, and just be on their own. But I honestly don't expect it. I think we've discussed before that DLC doesn't usually last over a year from when the game first came out.
Right.
And this would perfectly wrap up with Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Just like it did with Mario Kart's DLC.
And I think the other thing to keep in mind, we touched on this last segment, but the ballot is not an election. It really is just a suggestion box. So people are going to say, well, Cloud can't be a ballot winner, but I don't think there was ever intended to be a winner or a loser. I think it was just, hey, give us some ideas and we'll pick ones that we like and go from there. So, I'm sure Cloud has been in development for several months at this point, and they just happened to find December to be the right moment to release him.
Yeah, I agree. I do wonder if they did themselves a slight disservice by announcing Cloud first, only because I think for enthusiasts like us, we get it, we understand the thought process that goes into these decisions. We can understand. But for, a lot of the more casual people out there, or people who don't really think about it in those terms, and just want all these cool characters, I feel like blowing their load early with Cloud, by early I mean November, then December announcing these two other characters who are going to be almost inevitably be a lot less, a lot less hype than Cloud.
You can't top Cloud at this point.
I mean, you really can't. And so I just wonder if they did themselves a disservice by announcing Cloud now and then saying, hey, we got this special presentation coming in December, and then they announce like Wolf and like an Inkling, and then people are like, oh, but we just got Cloud. Like, that's not that cool. So I just wonder if they kind of shot themselves in the foot. I'm still super hyped, and no matter who they announce, I'll be happy.
Well, maybe the presentation will try to focus more towards the hardcore Smash fans. That the Nintendo Direct was for more general Nintendo, right? So you put Cloud in, and then if you put, I don't know, I don't think King K. Rool is going to happen, but like King K. Rool would be something that would appeal to people that are tuning in for a Smash reveal. So that makes sense.
That is true.
Or even somebody like, I think this is out there too, and I still don't think we would get like Banjo-Kazooie. But somebody like that would be a huge reveal because of multiple reasons, because of fan demand, and it's also a third-party sort of deal. So I mean, I think there's a couple that could reach up there in hype, but yeah, there's nothing that can really, match Cloud, unless we have, like I said before, Master Chief or something ridiculous that's not going to happen.
Yeah. You make a good point though, Spazzy. I think that the Smash Directs are meant to appeal to that like niche fan base, which is why I think we saw Roy in that Smash Direct, the original Smash Direct, because he does appeal to the Smash fan base in particular.
Yeah.
But Lucas, I think, also feels that. I think Lucas and Roy exactly aren't huge names, but they do appeal to Smash fans. People who have played previous games will be fans.
Lucas should
most
appeal to
part will
everyone.
be fans of Lucas and Roy.
But they showed Lucas first, and then they showed
right.
Ryu.
That would have been different though, because they showed Ryu in the actual Direct. But I do want to point out that the difference there is that was E3.
Yeah.
Right, and people get on Nintendo's E3 from last year, but if you really take everything as one entity, they did show a lot. It's just their actual
That's
E3
true.
presentation was kind of lackluster because they tried to spread it out, through so much.
Yeah, their Sunday with Smash Brothers and the Nintendo World Championship was amazing.
Yeah.
And just then, Nintendo ruined their E3 by like pacing everything out. It made they revealed all this stuff in the Micro Direct, the Smash Brothers stuff, the Nintendo World Champion stuff. People were like, oh, they've revealed all this stuff already. They must have lots to reveal, like big things to reveal at their actual digital.
Right.
And then really they didn't.
Earthbound Beginnings even was done in the middle of the World Championship, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. What a pleasant
That would have been
surprise.
perfect.
Well,
that would have been perfect for the digital event.
Well, and I think a lot of people subconsciously kind of discount the Roy and Ryu announcement too because they were leaked, and that's not really fair. That's not Nintendo's fault or Sakurai's fault. They were leaked, so I think people subconsciously kind of tend to forget that was a big E3 announcement that doesn't feel like an E3 announcement because they were leaked before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt the
That's
same
actually a
way
big
with
point.
Twilight Princess HD in the latest
Oh, yeah.
direct.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh yeah, I knew it was coming. Like,
Right.
Yeah, everyone knew it was coming, and a lot of people were seemingly disappointed with how it looked. It didn't look as pretty as the render that people had associated.
I'm so glad that Cloud didn't get leaked.
Yes,
Me
I was
too.
just gonna say that.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was gonna
happy.
say. Cloud is one of 2 characters to not get leaked. The other being Rosalina.
Well, and I guess it depends
And,
on how far back you go.
Lucina.
Mega Man wasn't leaked either, though.
No,
Yeah.
I thought Mega Man was on the Gamatsu.
Right,
list
but we didn't.
originally,
Nobody,
wasn't
but
it? With
even if
Villager and Wii
Gamatsu
Fit
was
Trainer.
real, which is debatable. I mean, I think most of us here have discussed it, and we think that they had some information prior to some development information. But even if that was 100% real, let's just assume that for a minute. It didn't leak any of those characters because nobody took Sal's post in NeoGAF seriously until after that. You know.
Yeah.
Also,
I guess that's
Pac-Man
that's
wasn't
true.
on
I
there,
guess.
I think.
Yeah.
Pac-Man was on.
I thought Pac-Man
He
was.
was.
I thought
It was.
Pac-Man was on there. Yeah.
It was Little Mac, Pac-Man, Mii Fighters, Wii Fit Trainer, Villager, and Mega Man. Those were the 6.
Yeah.
Those are his unlikely predictions.
And then he came up with Pokemon from X and Y show.
Right.
Palutena,
Horsemen.
Chrome,
Yeah.
And the
and
chorus.
Kids.
Yeah.
Chorus
Oh, I
Kids.
love the
And
chorus.
Psy.
They're so
I was really looking forward to seeing how Sakurai would institute a rhythm-based moveset.
Yeah.
same.
Too. I was
It's
so
like-
hyped for the chorus kids. That still hurts.
Me too.
That is still
They're-
a wound that is not
They're my
quite
favorite
closed.
Rhythm Heaven game.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe December, Smash DLC's not over yet.
Wow, that was
That
I
would
might
Would that be
hyper
salt
that
or would
was
that not be
yeah.
salt? I mean, I don't even know at this point. I mean, it would be some salt, but
I don't think that
know.
would be
I think it'd be
salt.
more confusion. Like, I don't think people would be like
No
pissed.
matter what, there's gonna
know.
be salt.
Yeah.
Like we said that last
Yeah.
podcast, there will be salt, and it came true.
the petitions against Cloud.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, no,
hilarious.
there's now a petition against the petition against Cloud.
Yeah.
I
There's a
think
petition
honestly
to get
it
it
was started
removed
by
from
someone in Shinra.
I think if the chorus kids don't get announced at the December presentation, we need to all go to change.org and organize a petition against
Yes.
Sakurai.
I said it.
We demand.
I said it
think
before,
he does
and
sing
it's gonna
our
happen
demand.
just because I know the fan base. I'm like, there's gonna be a Kickstarter for K. Rool afterwards. They're all like, listen,
Oh,
Sakurai,
yeah.
we will
Oh,
pay
yeah.
you. Just
Oh, definitely.
get back and do this character for us.
Sakurai, why are you so biased? Oh.
I think the ballot overall is a good idea for Nintendo in general because it's free marketing data. Like now they know what characters people are talking about. They know what characters are on the public's mind in some ways. And so they can really benefit from that, not only in Smash, but in their other games. Like they're like, oh, people want King K. Rool back. Well, we have a new Donkey Kong game in the works. Why don't we just add him in?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Like people will see the bigger picture of this, and that's something that kind of upsets me. And I think with the ballot, like I think a lot of people just took it as like they took it too seriously. Like I had I know multiple people, and I think even Spazzy, you're included in this, that voted multiple times, like every day or every other day.
Oh wow.
And it's just like, what's the point? Like,
Because I want
Yeah.
Nintendo to know that I want Bomberman and things. I'm playing, like you said last time, it's a long game. It's not a short game. I know Bomberman's not going to be in this game. But I want that seed to be in there, to be like, hey, this character still has fans.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think they realize that. It's just that, like I had this, I had people saying, like, I voted for this character every day, and it's like, who is this character? I've never heard of this character.
Oh jeez.
I played the long game with Takamaru. He couldn't have been added in. He was already in the game as an assist trophy, but I don't care. I want Sakurai to know people do care about him over it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely
Especially
agree.
now that this game has been released.
I definitely
think,
agree that people. Oh, good.
I think Massman and my translation of the Nico interview kind of helped promote Takamaru outside
Oh.
of
Yes, with
That was like the first time that we ever collaborated together, actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's so.
Memories.
I want to say Natsukashi, but that's gonna be like super esoteric and annoying. So
Yeah.
I'll just say like.
It's very memories. But yeah, like when we first did that, like that, I think that's when it like people were like, yeah, Takamaru, like we want him in Smash. Like we know him now. Come on, Sakurai.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He needs the Kid Icarus Uprising
Do
revival.
you remember
Yeah.
when they said that his game was going to get a virtual console release in the West, and then all of a sudden everyone thought he was a shoo-in, and then like 2 days later the assist trophy was revealed?
That was during Comic-Con last year. That was the week of San Diego Comic-Con last year. That was hilarious.
It's really
he just shut down Takamaru fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quickly.
Yeah, no, I was among that. The second I saw it, the second the game was revealed, I was like, oh my god, maybe this does mean he's in Smash. Maybe this is why they revealed him now, to get people prepared for him to be in Smash.
Right.
And then no.
And that's when I
the
started
whole
seriously
week was
considering
really
Duck
weird
Hunt
for
Dog.
assist trophies.
That's when.
Oh, yes, I'm so happy about Duck Hunt Dog.
I think that troll was only rivaled by that one pick of the day where he showed Waluigi and was like, well, just because you try hard doesn't mean you make it into Smash. That was, and I can't stand Waluigi, and his fans tend to be really annoying in my opinion. So I love that. I was like, this is the best.
He's so polarizing, and I think he's funny. I don't have a problem with him. I tend to like him. My sister loves him. So it's amazing to see how many people like actually despise him.
Nintendo should make a game
that
that's like some sort of like buddy game system starring Tingle and Waluigi. I think that game would either sell great or terribly. I don't know.
Well, I will say that I dislike Wario and Waluigi in general, but Andre made a really good point. Game Explains Andre made a really good point when he said that you can dislike them, but you got to give Waluigi credit for his victory animation in Mario Strikers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how in the world that made it through QA, because that actually is amazing, and I give Waluigi major props to that. So Waluigi's okay in my book now that I think about it. Wario, I can't go there with that.
What?
You picked the wrong podcast.
Wario is low.
I like Wario. It's just when you get into like Waluigi and Watoad and Wapeach and stuff that you get a little
Watoad.
Watoad.
I think
I really want Watoad to be a character now.
I've been saying this for a while that I think Nabbit should be Wario's Toad because like it just fits.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But didn't we joke about Super Mario and Super Wario 3D World?
Right,
with
yeah.
Wario, Waluigi, Nabbit, and Captain
Right,
Sora?
yeah, greatest game
that'd
of
be
all
good.
time. Because the focus would be instead of
I
like,
can totally see that happening.
yeah, it would be taking the portion of 3D world where it's competitive and just taking that to the ultimate degree, where you can literally just like throw enemies at the person and stuff to just try to get coins.
Right.
It'd be Coin Smash, but in
Yeah.
like the whole game is Coin Smash.
Oh wow. That could be fun.
Going back to the
Yeah, I was gonna say we got off
upcoming
topic
direct.
there.
Sorry. I have some notes of what I want to say.
Okay.
Is that characters they take about 6 to 10 months maybe? That's the current estimate that we have based
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah. So like, since they have long development time, like it's kind of natural that they would start them earlier, even if they didn't have all the full results in, and especially because like no one said that they had to wait. And like Spazzy said earlier in the podcast, like the votes were probably front loaded. Like a lot of the votes probably came on April 1st and April 2nd. I know when I was doing my perception of Smash DLC in Japan, Redux, that all of the votes that I saw on the internet from Japanese users came from within that first week. Like once I got through April 10th, like there was not that many votes. Like the discussion really died down.
Yeah.
So that's something that people need to consider. Also, fans only see who's in and who's not. That's something that Sakurai has said. And there's so much that goes into character selection and character balancing and creation and everything. Like, we don't even have the full picture. There's a lot that has been said about it and a lot that we've translated, but there's just so much that it's insane. Like, I know a lot of people are comparing Smash to like Tekken or something like that, or Street Fighter, where they say like, oh, characters should only take 2 months. Not for Sakurai.
Yeah.
Like, they take a lot longer. Like, this dude, he takes 50 pictures of every character, of action figures, Microman, in various poses. He makes very detailed plans. He tries to be very faithful to the original material, because I think he knows what it's like to be a content creator. Like, he has he has that strong association with Kirby, and he knows what it's like to create a character and have it represented by other people. And so I think he takes it as a very serious obligation. Because, after he left HAL, especially after he left HAL, Kirby has kind of been handled by other people. And you don't really see post-Sakurai Kirby representation in Smash. There's a couple of trophies here and there, but as far as movesets and stuff like that, stages, it's mostly Sakurai Kirby that's represented.
As someone who's doing a bunch on the representation in Smash of different games, the only 3 games to get proper recognition past Sakurai are Amazing Mirror, Squeak Squad, and Return to Dreamland.
Yeah.
They're the only 3 Kirby games to get any sort of recognition.
I think Amazing Mirror, he was wasn't a consultant for it.
Okay.
So I think he had some input in that game. The other 2, I'm not 100% sure on. I'll have to check.
I think he might have liked Squeak Squad. I mean, in Brawl, it seems to get used a lot. There are a lot of stickers from Squeak Squad.
Yeah.
They're just thrown into Brawl, and it's mentioned in a lot of just trophy descriptions. It's the game that's written down under Kirby's Squeak Squad and stuff like that.
Yeah, timing-wise, it worked out well. I think that was almost the same time as Brawl, right?
That's true too.
I think so.
So
Return to Dreamland got trophies and some music, and I think that's it.
So representing the character entirely is very important, and something that Sakurai does take very seriously, and that's why it takes such a long time to make a character.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've said this since April that the DLC couldn't go on forever. Like, I even had the infamous article, the End of Smash DLC, which I said there would only be 2 more characters, and we got 3 more characters at least. But I'm just saying, like, everyone kind of needed to lower their expectations.
Listen, Push, we decided this a long time ago. What's going to happen is Nintendo's going to get a team together for Smash 5. They're going to take Sakurai in his office chair, roll it out of that office, and push it into the new one.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and I hate to play devil's advocate in this case, because that would be really unfortunate if this were to come to pass, but we don't really know at all that there are 3 more characters and 3 more stages. Those are just placeholders. They could just take those out of a future patch.
That's very true.
And we have Cloud and 1 more character, or we just have Cloud. I don't think it's going to happen.
They're not going to do a
But
whole
I'm just
direct
saying,
just
we
for
don't-
Cloud, I don't think.
No, exactly. So, I mean, I think we do at least have 1 more character, but I'm just saying, we don't know for sure that those placeholders mean.
Wouldn't it be amazing
Yeah,
if we just
no
had 10
guarantee.
minutes of Sakurai talking about Cloud and Final Fantasy VII, and that was just it? Just nothing.
It's a very good game. You all should play it.
He starts talking about his Final Fantasy VII memories and
it's just-
stuff, and
He takes out his push.
Actually, it could be 10 minutes of him just talking about how he doesn't think Smash should be played competitively and just, like, crapping on the tournament community, and it would be...
Shots fired.
Those are always my favorite
and not
types
even
of
because I hate
articles to
tournament
translate.
community. I just think it'd be funny. But,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to have one last troll.
I think
Yeah.
Sakurai,
Well,
when
just
it comes
because
to the
he's-
competitive community, by the way, looks more towards the Japanese competitive community, which is why things like Omega Forums exist, because their meta is Final Destination, and that's it.
Yeah, it's really sad.
So it makes it even more frustrating for competitive fans that are in the West, because competitive game is played differently in the West and in the East.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, by the way, that there's a theory going around, Ash. I don't know if you are familiar with this, and it's just a theory that it might have absolutely no real credence, but that the extra stage space in a slot in the 3DS version, one of them was supposed to be Pirate Ship. So,
interesting. No, I hadn't heard that.
So basically on the Wii U version, there is a suffix for stages that are shared between the 3DS and Wii U. On the Wii U version, I think it's the _F, lowercase f. And if that's after a stage, that means that there's a copy of it on the 3DS, which has the same name but _C.
Okay.
So Pirate Ship has an _F, but there's no 3DS counterpart, and there's kind of a weird gap within the stage slots, quote unquote. If you were to look at them, it goes like Mario Maker, blank, and then Dunk Hunt.
Okay.
And
I
then
think I did hear
two
something
extra.
about this, actually.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the theory is that if this is correct, and once again, it's like everything else, it's just a theory, that we actually have 2 characters but 1 stage coming, which means that we likely have 1 newcomer from a new series and 1 newcomer from an existing series or a returning veteran. So,
But my argument has been like that Duck Hunt in itself replaced the pirate ship stage.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
Because it doesn't make sense to just, I mean, like, you could just leave a slot open. I mean, they could do anything they want, really. Like Ash was saying before, like, they could only release 1 character. Like, we don't know 100%. But I think that it's just the way that development was. Like, probably Midgar is the one that's in between Mario Maker and Duck Hunt. We don't know. But maybe Midgar's in there, and then, like, the other 2 are just the other 2 stages because they started development after Duck Hunt was decided.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just
that's what I
it's
think.
so hard to find out these
Well, like I
things
said,
on
I was just
development.
pointing it out because, like I said, it's a theory. Don't. But at the
Like,
same time, I think what that means is that if you are looking at the placeholder slots to tell you exactly what's coming, we still, even if you believe that those are going to be things, we still don't 100% know if that's what we're getting. You know?
Yeah.
I think that was more my
That's
point.
true.
Right. I actually have a really crazy conspiracy theory as to why I think there's a chance Pirate Ship might have been planned to be in the base game, but was not completed in time. And it's totally crazy. But if you look at all the other DLC stages in Smash Wii U, the font that their names is displayed in, all the DLC stages except for Pirate Ship, you can tell their font was kind of like, it wasn't optimized for spacing. It wasn't, it's just kind of lazily thrown in there. And it's just kind of like narrowed in all in one line, kind of narrowed. All the letters are made really narrow. And the regular stages aren't like that. All the letters are really optimized to like, there are 2 lines. Like they look better. And Pirate Ship does that too.
Huh.
And I've noticed that.
I didn't know that.
Being a copy, being an editor, that's what I noticed stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I just noticed that Pirate Ship is the only DLC stage with a font, for its name that is kind of different and kind of optimized for actual space, and not just thrown in. Like look at Super Mario Maker or Dreamland 64, and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
But of course, it could mean absolutely nothing, but it's just something I noticed, and it made me think, I wonder if maybe Pirate Ship was supposed to be in this game.
It is curious, though.
Yeah, at least
well,
there was no
Pirate
leftover data for it.
Pirate Ship is the odd one out of all of them. I think me and Push had a discussion about this a few days ago, simply that I was saying that maybe internally Nintendo were conducting a stage ballot alongside the character ballot, just like looking and seeing what fans thought, like what stages were the ones that most fans missed. Because you can't really argue that Pirate Ship wasn't the big stage that everyone was pretty much clamoring for.
Oh, it was totally mine.
With Wind Waker HD being a thing, a lot of people thought Pirate Ship would be a shoo-in.
Yeah,
Sure.
Simply because of that, and it wasn't. And I think a lot of people missed it. I think Newport City might be the other one that a lot of people want.
Real quick though, they did clean up the stage table list, so even though I said that there was no leftover data for it, there is no evidence to suggest it one way or the other, actually.
Oh, I see.
Interesting.
Okay.
Most of the databases were cleaned, except for the character and the series icon, which is where
so those still remain as they were before.
Yeah, which is why the rhythm emblem was found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still there now, or do they take that out finally?
it's still there.
Huh.
Isn't it Rhythm, Dr. Kawashima?
There was
Electroplankton.
Diary.
More, isn't there? Oh yeah, Swap Note. Yeah.
Diary, yeah,
Swap
and
Note.
well, it's not confirmed it's Swap Note, it's just called Diary.
Yeah.
Isn't in Japan? Isn't Swap Note known
It's-
for something dark?
It's Nikki something.
Yeah, because like Nikki in Japanese means like diary, and that's where her name comes from.
So it's
okay.
speculated that it's Swap Note. Same with the rhythm being Rhythm Heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense, but anyway,
Yeah, I don't think
that's
it's a leap
that's a whole other discussion that we can.
So, I think, I guess we should bring. So, who thinks this is really the end of DLC? coming up?
I think that it is the end of DLC. That this is the end, but I don't think we're necessarily going to see everything in the direct, if that makes sense. I think what we're going to see is likely an E3 scenario where we have 2 or 3 characters released at once, and then I think what we're going to have is an announcement of, if this isn't the end, when the end is. And we'll have another character coming that we will announce sometime in a future direct or something like that. So I think at the very least, we will know everything that's happening from this point on. I don't think there's going to be any more surprises.
I would like to have that. Exactly what you said. I think by December, by this presentation, we will know exactly whether or not we have any more coming, and if we do have more coming, how much we have coming. And I really do want to believe that it will go up to 8, not just because my original prediction when they first announced DLC was that it would be 8 characters, and not just because it's an even number, so it looks better for me. Just because I'd like to believe that this isn't the end, and they've worked on a character at least post-ballot, almost like started it in October, September time. But at the same time, I do really believe that this is the end. I think December is the end. It makes just too much sense to have it be the end of it.
Just give us Wolf. Give us Wolf. He's got to take like 10 minutes to make. Like, just base him off Fox. Like, you have his moveset, just make him.
Yeah, I would also like to see Wolf come back. As a Lucas main, I know how it feels, so I'm rooting for Wolf. And while I think it will be the end of DLC in terms of characters and stages, I think we'll probably still end up seeing at least 1 or 2 balance updates after the characters are released in December.
Yeah, I think we're probably approaching the end. I don't want to admit it, but I think we probably are. And I do agree that, but when this presentation happens, I do think that we'll have the rest of the roadmap laid out for us. So even if we don't have everything released right after the direct or the presentation, I think we'll have a pretty good idea of who's coming and when the last DLC is dropping. But I don't know if I believe that they're going to blow their entire load right after that presentation, because I feel like if we do, let's just say we do have 3 more characters and 3 or 2 more stages, I don't think they're going to release them all right that day. I think they'll release Cloud and maybe another character and maybe a stage or 2. But I feel like they're going to hold some stuff off maybe early 2016 and tell us about it and say, hey, this is going to drop in early 2016. But at least try to kind of pad that.
And that's how you get Wolf, because if you pre-order Star Fox now,
exactly,
you get Wolf. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
But yeah, that's kind of what I feel like might happen. I don't think they're going to announce everything that's left and then release everything that's left in December. That just seems a bit much.
I hope they don't. I think they will, though.
Really?
Because I think it will be very similar to what they did with E3 with the Challenger Approaching Direct. And that they will just announce it and they'll be like, okay, now go onto the eShop and buy it now. And it's going to be... Or maybe they'll release it a day or 2 afterwards, so that way people can't data mine it.
Yeah, I think we're going to at least get Cloud, if not immediately, then yeah, like a day or 2 after. I think at the very least Cloud.
I think Nintendo is aware of the data mining that has gone on.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, and so I think that, I don't know if they'll release it right away, because I think they'll try to keep it a surprise. Because I think the View and Lucas, even though they were known, I think having them data mined early is what really hurt Sakurai. He hasn't really said anything on it, but just the feeling I get, when he has talked about leaks in previous articles, he gets upset when they're shown, I think. More so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just completely ruins what would have been an amazing
reveal.
Reveal, yeah.
Which is exactly what Cloud was. It was an amazing reveal.
Yeah, I'm so happy about that.
And he's probably really happy about the way people reacted to Cloud.
Yeah. I'm anxious to hear what his feelings are about it.
Yeah, hopefully Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mitsu.
That would be insane.
Hopefully.
I always thought that...
And if he does put out an article, we'll definitely translate it.
Yeah.
I always thought that Bowser Jr., if he hadn't been a hidden character, if that had been an E3 trailer, especially because at E3 that was before the ESRB leak, that would have been kind of mind-blowing. Just with all the alts and everything.
Yeah, no, Bowser Jr.'s trailer was amazing.
I like the Mii Fighter trailer.
Duck Hunt would have been really surprising, I think. Yeah. I don't know, I can't tell how much of Duck Hunt would have been super hype, or people just being wait,
yeah, that's true.
Super.
Yeah, the funny part about Duck Hunt is I feel like a lot of people back in Melee, I thought that the characters that were missing were Duck Hunt, Little Mac, and Pit, and that's just because I'm kind of an old school NES guy,
Oh yeah, same here.
And I'm those characters, and then it's kind of that echo chamber effect that we were talking about before. So many people thought Duck Hunt was impossible that people just started kind of writing it off. And I kind of felt that way too, where I just felt like it's just probably not going to happen. And I didn't really start taking Duck Hunt seriously until Takamaru was disconfirmed, because once he was gone, I'm like, I still think we're gonna have a retro rep. And looking through, I'm like, Duck Hunt makes so much more sense than Lip or any of these other, not that I dislike Lip or Excite Bike or anything, but he just made more sense to me.
But Duck Hunt's just more well known.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I think the only other possible one that could fit this, I think there's two that could fit this, and I think there's Donkey Kong Jr. and Sheriff. I think they're the only possible other two that could fit that same role that Game & Watch Duck Hunt and
Mach Rider.
Rob have filled. I don't think Mach Rider is. I think Excite Bike Rider would be a better choice. I think he's more well known than Mach Rider is, even if Sakurai does like.
Yeah, Mach Rider's more like a pit or an ice climber. It's it's different. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Although honestly, the Game & Watch and Rob of this game was actually Wii Fit Trainer, because it was. Oh, and I guess Duck Hunt too, but they're both hardware representatives, really. Because
that's true. Yeah, with the balance board.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
I think that
I really thought that we might have Balance Board as a character. Never thought Wii Fit Trainer, but I thought the little dancing balance board.
Sakurai did joke about that.
Yeah.
He in the Brawl Mitsu summaries, he said he was complaining about the lack of new not the lack of new characters, but the lack of new franchises in Brawl, and he was like I don't know where I should draw from. Should I add Weibo from it? The Wii.
Is his name Weibo?
They're on the balance board.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think I knew that was his name.
Because I think it comes from Weibo though, the Wii board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wow. That's really good.
He's a cutie.
So when are we gonna get that mobile game representation?
Mini
Tomo.
Yeah.
I suppose that's Smash 5 then, huh?
Yeah.
His gimmick is you need to buy all of his special attacks.
I'm still hoping for 9-volt.
If Rusty is a thing in the future, I quit.
Rusty.
That
Oh, yeah.
ugly ass dog.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Rusty.
Ugh.
Rusty's another. Yeah. Rusty has the issue that that game's still not out in Europe.
Really?
It's
I haven't
fine.
been able to play Rusty yet.
You guys don't get any of the good games, man. You don't get, Chrono Trigger or Super Mario RPG or Rusty's Real Deal Baseball or whatever.
No.
Yeah.
The only baseball game we've got is the first Mario Baseball. We didn't get the sequel. I think it's just because it's baseball that nobody cares.
With the Piantas and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, so when we get Mario Cricket gets released and it's a Europe exclusive, then we'll finally have ours.
I think they should add the Sales Bunny from Nintendo Badge Arcade.
Oh, Baito-kun.
Oh,
That's a character.
His name is Baito.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Biter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
We should do a podcast where we just reveal
Yeah,
all
that's
the
out
names,
now,
all
but-
the obscure names for characters that nobody knows.
Yeah.
yeah, in case anyone was curious.
Mario is the new Mario rep. Come on.
Yeah.
The next Mario rep out of nowhere. Actually, in the December Direct, Sakurai should just reveal Wart and then let that be it. Like a 2-minute Wart trailer. That's it, and that's the final DLC.
hilarious.
It's Wart and that's it. So you guys want Ridley? You guys want a
too.
K. Rool? You get Wart.
Can it
That's
be
what
a
you get for data mining my
Can
game?
it be a Wart versus Tatanga trailer? Is that then?
Sure, let's do that. Awesome. Wart and Tatanga. Yeah.
The trailer starts out with Daisy. You think it's going to be her, but
Yeah.
then Tatanga jumps in, kicks her off, and Daisy has nothing to do with the game because
Yeah.
Nintendo hates her.
You guys like data mining, huh? Here's Wart.
Yeah.
Can K. Rool be Wart's neutral special? He'll just pull K. Rool out and hold him in front of him.
It's so good. Oh,
Where he
man.
becomes a Peach clone. His down special, instead of picking up vegetables, just picks up Waluigi's and throws them.
Oh, I would be so down for that.
Hilarious.
Man.
I don't know why Nintendo doesn't leverage more of their older Mario villains.
It is strange that Wart has literally never appeared again.
I feel like Tatanga's
I mean,
such a
Wart's a
perfect
weird one,
fit
'cause
for
he would-
Mario Kart because he has his own vehicle already.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Wart's a weird one because he's never really a Mario character.
Well, that's
to begin
true,
with.
I
But then
guess.
again, I guess
True.
neither
Yeah.
was Birdo or Shy Guy.
yeah.
but I don't know why Shy Guy suddenly came
Because
back.
of Yoshi.
Shy Guy was at least
Birdo-
integrated into Yoshi.
I think Wart should
Yeah,
be...
Shy Guy was implemented as Yoshi. Birdo, well, a lot of Super Mario Bros. 2 was actually implemented into Yoshi.
Yeah, I
There's a
think,
lot
and
of
I've said this before, I don't know if I
crossovers.
said this on this podcast before, but I think that Wart should be Yoshi's enemy. He should just take all the subcon stuff, because fighting Baby Bowser is lame. I'm sorry, it's lame. Give him his own enemies.
I feel that.
Yeah, I would like to see that. It'd be Reptiles versus Reptile.
Yeah.
Oh, I kept hoping that, I mean, it would have been so perfectly appropriate. I kept hoping that Wart was going to make a cameo in Dream Team. Because,
Oh, yeah?
I mean, how perfect would that have been?
Right.
You know, that's...
Oh yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, I mean, it's appropriate. The idea sells itself. It's a game about dreaming.
I guess
Almost.
I didn't even-
Wart
that
technically
thought
died
never crossed my mind. I was thinking,
on the island when the, what was it, the windfish woke up, right? Isn't that... Everything on the island
Oh,
died.
yeah.
oh yeah, he's in Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, he is. He's that frog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, he's an amphibian,
The
not a
store?
reptile. Just I'm saying that because someone in the comments is going to call
Yeah,
us
I
out
get it.
if you said it was reptile.
Nice.
Reptile. I just want to just preemptively bite that in the butt.
And that, it was a stupid comment because Baby Bowser's a reptile anyway. So it's not a new thing.
It's true.
But I think talking about characters, I think is a good segue into who we think will be announced for this December direct.
Wart.
Dun, dun, dun,
Like,
dun.
how many characters do we think will be announced, and who do we think it will be? So, I mean, Push, you want to start this one?
So it really depends on, I don't know, like right now it's so hard to predict. I think that Inklings are still, very much up there for Nintendo All-Stars that aren't in the game. Like their game is incredibly hot in Japan right now. Like I have my high school students that I teach, they talk to me about Splatoon. So it has a wide pull. Like I think Inklings would make a lot of sense. A lot of people have been saying oh, they should save them for Smash 5, but Sakurai's not gonna save characters.
If he didn't save
Like,
Cloud,
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he wants them in the game, he's gonna add them into the game. And I know a lot of people are afraid of like the 3DS holding them back and stuff like that, but I think that's just kind of a silly fear. Then the other thing is that the Shovel Knight rumor is still technically alive. I'm less confident in it than I was before, but there's still not a valid reason to doubt it. So because of that, I still have to stay somewhat committed to it. So I do believe that Shovel Knight is at least a possibility. I don't think he really fits in with the other third-party characters, but that's a whole different other discussion. That's just my personal bias. And then after that, it's really hard to say. Like if those aren't the two other remaining characters, then I mean I can't really think of any other character that would naturally fit into Smash besides Bomberman, who's not in the game right now.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of the same as you. I'm one of the people who thinks that the Inklings would be held back by 3DS, and I know it's a silly notion to think. Part of me just, I don't know, I worry like what the Inklings could be if they get into, like what they could be if they are held back. And I know, like just like Ganondorf's the big show of this, Sakurai's not going to change it when the next Smash Bros. Comes along. However we get them now is how they're going to be.
Yeah, they'll have like incremental changes, if anything.
Yeah. Right. They won't have anything major done to change out their moveset. And, I mean, there's not like... Basically, I do think the Inklings are very likely. You're right, they are Nintendo's last big, all-star character. I just kind of don't want them. And the same goes for Shovel Knight. The rumor isn't dead, so I still kind of feel a bit inclined to follow it. But because I know it's the Inklings and Shovel Knight, and so I know if they get revealed in December, I'm just going to be like, okay, it's exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
It's not going to be anything that gets me super excited for it, so part of me hopes that at least one of them aren't right.
Yeah.
Whether we get like a different third party instead of Shovel Knight, or if we get a different first party character instead of Inklings. So I mean, the two that are on my mind at the moment, the way I could see it going is we either get Dixie Kong, because of how similar she is to Diddy Kong in terms of appearance. So I could easily see it being almost like a situation with Wolf in Brawl, where he was very similar to Fox, so like Sakurai said it was like there was only 70% as much effort needed to make Wolf than it would be to make him from complete scratch. I think the same thing could apply to Dixie Kong.
Well,
everything's there for
with
Diddy. You just kind of repurpose
Dixie-
Diddy, give him new moves.
With Dixie,
and then-
there was a moveset plan for her in Brawl. Like, she did make it past pre-development. They were gonna make a tag team system with Diddy Kong. So I would imagine that the only thing that they would have to change is the down B if they were to use that plan.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
I think Dixie Kong is probably the only other likely first-party character at this point, unless Wolf somehow returns. I think I'd be a bit disappointed with veterans at this point.
I think.
But I could also see Wolf and even at this point Snake.
I think
well.
Snake would actually...
I did think Snake would come back.
Snake
but
would
with
surprise
Cloud being
me.
revealed now, I think Snake could be a very surprising third-party character, and it would fill out all the big names.
Yeah, at
He's a
this
veteran, so
point,
he's already
yeah,
got
at this point, I
fans.
feel like Snake. First of all, he'd need a new stage, or because they're not going to redo Codex for that many characters.
Yeah.
That with the budget of
Yeah.
DLC.
Well, they could just remove.
Yeah,
the
that's a very un-Sakurai like thing to do. It's just to
I
yeah,
guess
he
that's
didn't even
true.
fix Hyrule Castle.
yeah.
Like Hyrule Castle is
So-
Well,
not correct.
they also more or less have been replaced by the Palutina's guidances. Anyway.
Well, you know what they could do? They could
Yeah.
do like the Palutena's Guidance, where they have like a catch-all for the characters that weren't recorded in Brawl. Like, there's no data on this fighter sort of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they'd have to record that specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just one thing. That's not, too difficult.
Real quick though, before we go on to other people, with Wolf, I could see him being added in if he was the last character decided. Like, if this last slot was really decided in June or July, or August even, then I think there is a possibility that it could be Wolf, like just like the other clones, or semi-clones I should say, that have gone into past installments. They were added at the very end of the development. And I think that is a way that Wolf could still get in. I just don't think he would be the center of DLC development.
Right, exactly.
And that's because
So yeah,
of the way that they picked Lucas and Roy.
so basically what you're saying there is that there wasn't really even a plan to do a third. There was just going to be two more, but then they're like, hey, we have time for another, and we could do Wolf, and he's had demand in the poll. Wouldn't take as long, sort of deal.
Yeah, that's the way that I feel about it. Like, I think Wolf could still get in only through that third slot if there is 3 slots.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as you guys, like, or at least some of you. I think the remaining characters will be some sort of combination between Inkling, Wolf, and Shovel. Wolf, I feel like, makes sense because there's a lot less effort required in porting him over to Smash Wii U than it is a full newcomer. And there are enough Wolf fans who are vocal enough to. It's almost like, why not do it just to make them happy? And then Inkling, I'm confident that Inkling is a thing. I feel like Inkling's gonna be in the game. It makes too much sense. Again, I mean, it's Nintendo's last remaining All-Star. Splatoon is a mega breakout hit, and Inkling just makes sense. I feel like it's happening. It's just a gut instinct. Shovel Knight's kind of the X factor. I was a lot more confident in Shovel Knight about a month ago, or around PAX time, 2 months ago, than I am now, which makes me sad because I'm personally, Shovel Knight was my game of the year last year, so I would be
Really
super hyped if Shovel Knight actually made it in Smash. I do agree that maybe he doesn't necessarily fit yet. He doesn't have that legacy yet that obviously that these other characters do, like Sonic and Mega Man and Cloud. But I would love it just to how cool would it be to have an indie character like Shovel Knight in Smash, especially for the guys at Yacht Club, to have their baby basically alongside all these all-star characters. So
I think Shovel Knight isn't going anywhere. Shovel Knight is definitely going to stick around. He's been in a ton of other crossover games. Yacht Club's games has such a really good relationship with Nintendo.
Yeah.
And if Shovel Knight is in the game, I think that's kind of like a representation of Nintendo moving forward and really trying to help these other studios and really support these.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, Shovel Knight still has 2 DLC packs coming. There's still King Knight and then the Smash Brothers Star Fighter DLC that's been...
And Spectre
And there's
Knight,
also
too.
the gender swap. The Spectre Knight one
Yeah.
as well. Okay. See, there's still a lot of Shovel Knight content coming.
Yeah.
And I know they've talked about making a Super Shovel Knight
And
when they move on.
there's there's still no concrete plans for the Japanese side, Like I keep on bugging them on Twitter, like, hey, when can I play this game?
Right.
But like I feel like it is, it's gonna come eventually to Japan, and I think that once it comes to Japan, it would be a hit here too.
I
guess if... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like Shovel Knight is almost exactly the opposite of Cloud. When you really look at it, he's a character with no legacy. The game sold well, but I mean, it's not, 9 million selling. It's not Final Fantasy VII. It's from a small American developer that and the character itself has close ties with Nintendo. It's pretty much like the opposite of everything you would say about Cloud. Like, literally every point.
Yeah,
True.
And that's something I said in the first SourceCast, is like, if Shovel Knight was going to get in, he would get an opposite almost.
Yeah, the funny part is, if they both get in, then there's almost no rules for third-party characters. Like, think about
really.
how both of them would break pretty much everything, and basically the only rules at that point would be video game character, popular, and I guess has appeared on a Nintendo console, like, because at least Cloud's been in games on Nintendo.
That's still not a rule.
It hasn't been broken yet. It's a rule until it's not a rule.
Sakurai has said it might be a courtesy.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But I could see the presentation next month opening with Wolf. It's kind of like, okay, we're starting off strong. Here's a veteran that you guys really want to return. Here's Wolf, new character, cool. We get everything else in the middle of the direct, and then we end with Ink, because that's like the last newcomer. It's a first-party, strong first-party newcomer, and that would be a good way to go out, honestly. I mean, Cloud's a great announcement, but I feel like their last announcement shouldn't necessarily be a third-party. So go out strong with their last remaining first-party character, and that is it.
With the new content approaching, I think they had Lucas in the middle. I think it went
It was
started
Roy,
with
then
Roy,
Lucas.
and then Ryu. So like it would follow that pattern too.
Wasn't Lucas announced in the April 1st direct?
Yeah, Lucas was originally announced.
He was announced there, but they talked about him.
Oh, okay.
They talked about his inclusion in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I think they did Roy and then went over some of his moves and changes.
Right.
Yep.
And then talked about... Then I think they talked about Mii Fighter costumes, then did Lucas, then did stages, and then did Ryu at the
That's
end.
right. And Amiibos
I think it was something like
somewhere.
that. And Amiibos, yeah, Amiibos. I think Amiibos were right again.
Yeah.
Because they talked about... But actually, that just made me think of a point which I'll bring up after we've heard, I guess, Maskman. Which characters do you think are going to be revealed in December?
Yeah. Well, I agree that Inklings are all but guaranteed at this point. I'll chuckle if they aren't in the game, but I think it's pretty safe to say that we'll see them in Smash, probably as the last character, like Ash suggested. Other than that, my two guesses would be Wolf, just in honor of the huge fan base. We saw in early Smash ballot results that Roy was still quite popular, even though he had yet to be announced, and he was announced 2 months after, I think, Push did his first feedback, the first preliminary results via Twitter and stuff.
The perception in Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
Perception of Smash deals in Japan, yeah.
Right. So in that sense, I think they probably noticed that, and they also noticed that Wolf fans were quite upset at his exclusion. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him back. The other outlier choice would be Ice Climbers, probably Ice Climber as a single character, not two of them. And I know a lot of old hardcore Smash fans would be upset, but technically speaking, a single Ice Climber would be more faithful to the original game. So I wouldn't have a problem with it. Yeah, I mean, I think just to see their cute little faces, or his or her cute little face, singular, would just be really heartwarming for a lot of people. Even if it's not the same as in previous games, I think having them back in Smash in at least some form would be really gratifying for a lot of people, myself included.
Yeah, I would be very happy even if they just included one of them.
I'd be happy as well.
Like
they need a new update.
Like that's like over Wolf, I felt like Ice Climbers were missing. Like more so, and like I don't think it's possible for Sakurai to change movesets that radically between the games, which is why I've never really supported them. But like if they were to come back as a single unit, I would support it 100%.
Yeah,
me too.
I mean, look at changes made to Charizard, for example.
Yeah.
Changes made to, Sheik and others. It's a little bit more
Yoshi.
minor. Yoshi too. A lot of characters that got updates. between games, so I don't think it's impossible, but I do consider them my outlier pick for DLC.
Cool.
And well, Spazzy, then, who are your 2 choices?
First of all, I'm not sure if we're just getting 2. Like I said, it could be 1, could be 3.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking.
How many people do you think we're getting?
Okay, I think we're gonna get Cloud. Apparently, there's some rumor leak going around right now. I'm just looking at our source chat. Apparently, somebody's saying that the Direct Cloud's gonna be available December 3rd. So let's just all keep that in mind.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
I think, they would have announced that, though, because isn't that the same day of Triforce Heroes?
Update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Updates,
Well, we'll see.
I think they would have announced it if it were that
At this
soon.
point, I don't think it even really matters. We'll find out sooner or later.
Sometime in December.
I'd be thrilled if it was, because that's earlier in December than I was expecting.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be
The
about
sooner the better,
mid-December, honestly. But
Well, we have. I was going to say we have a question about this later, which we can
okay,
talk about,
okay,
so
we'll
save
keep it
it.
for then.
Okay.
I think. Oh, by the way, also, Pushy said they had an entire moveset for Dixie, but if it was a swapping mechanic, likely, so they'd need to give her a new down B.
Tag team.
Yeah, I'd imagine that they'd move whatever her planned neutral B is to her down B and make her new neutral B the bubblegum gun from Tropical Freeze.
Unless the bubblegum gun was...
It
oh,
didn't
okay,
exist.
never mind, yeah.
So, yeah.
I realized that halfway.
But I don't know. I'm not sold on Shovel Knight. I'm just not. I know that you have some more background information. Maybe I would be a little bit more sold if I knew that. But as I don't, I just can't take it too seriously at this point. I still think it's out there. I still think it's a possibility. I'm not going to be shocked because we've talked about it so much and I've been kind of prepped for it, and part of me is probably expecting it. But I don't know. He just seems like it seems like the one theme that we have with third parties in this game is legacy and importance. Cloud is now the newest character, and this game came out in what, 96, 97?
Yeah, 97.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Besides Nintendo characters.
right, and the actual game series started in 1987. I mean, it's a series with legacy and history, like all of the series are. The newest one is Sonic. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
And
Really.
it's just something that it would just not fit for me. If it happens, it happens. But I don't know. There's some weird part of me that still thinks Rayman. I don't know why. I just feel like Rayman is such a fit. He's a mascot.
Rayman had a lot of support in the early
Exactly,
days of the
because that
ballot,
Artsy Omni leak happened right before the ballot happened. So
I have never been so happy about a leak being faked.
not a fan of Rayman.
So
Likewise.
I mean, I don't. Rayman's games, a lot of them are good, but I just don't think Rayman. I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people love him, but I don't think I just don't see him with the likes of Sonic and Mario and Mega Man.
And Shovel
I
Knight.
just don't see it. And Shovel Knight, and I know I'm contradicting myself totally, and that's just my own personal bias, but I don't get Rayman. I don't get it.
I'm
I
the same
don't
way.
either.
I'm the same way, Ash.
Yeah. Actually, like I said before, Assassin's Creed's a better selling series, so something like Ezio would make more sense, actually, from that perspective. But when you're talking about, hey,
God,
I'm just
so
saying that when you look at
As an icon.
when you look
Soul Calibur
when you look
situation.
at the list of best-selling video game franchises, it's up there. I think. Let me see. If I'm looking at the top selling video game franchises now, granted, this is from Wikipedia, but I mean, I have sourced the numbers, and the numbers are correct. The biggest issue with this is them not including certain series or not updating the numbers. But the top selling series are Mario and Smash, Pokemon and Smash, Grand Theft Auto, not gonna play Smash ever. No, that's the Wii series.
Down B's carjacking.
The Wii series, which is obviously represented by Wii Fit Trainer and by the Mii's. Call of Duty, which is not going to be in Smash. The Sims, which I don't even know how you would represent The Sims. I guess they do technically have SimCity. They do have an assist trophy for SimCity. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Need for Speed, which I am extremely shocked has sold as many copies as it has, but also that's something doesn't really fit Smash. Then Sonic the Hedgehog,
Need for Speed Carl.
Tetris, and then Final Fantasy. You look at this, and the majority of of the top sellers are either like gritty first-person shooters, sports games, or games that are in Smash. Like, which is like incredible. But you go down, and Assassin's Creed actually has sold more copies than The Legend of Zelda.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
It's right outside of the top 20. It's or actually it is a top 20 franchise because according to this list, anyways, Zelda's number 20 and Assassin's Creed is 19 at 87 million. So
Wow.
That's insane.
right, and personally, if personal bias, this is bias. If I was gonna do an Ubisoft rep, I would do the Prince of Persia, which Assassin's Creed is kind of a spiritual successor to, anyways. But if we're talking about big video game kind of, that meant something in our icons and have a freaking movie coming out, then Ezio does make sense as far as that goes. And it's going to be terrible because people are going to be saying that I'm like this huge Ezio fan and I think it makes sense or something. I was just bringing this up. This is just a point. I don't want this to become my opinion in any sort of way. And it all stemmed from me saying that I feel like Rayman makes sense, but from a sales perspective, Assassin's Creed has sold more than 4 times the units, I think.
Also, Assassin's Creed is now a yearly release like Call of Duty is. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big...
And let me tell you, as much as people rag on Ubisoft, at least they were actually giving ports of the current games to Nintendo. Can you say EA's doing that, or Capcom, or anybody?
Yeah, that's
they got the new Assassin's Creed games.
Even if Watch Dogs did come out half a year later.
Well, hey.
And even if Watch Dogs came out half a year later, and they did get Assassin's Creed, Rayman Legends, and Watch Dogs.
But
and Zombie U, and they're still sitting on a Wii U game that just hasn't been released.
I think Snake at this point would be a really hype addition, which is funny because I don't think he would have been if he was added earlier or even in the early parts of DLC. But now it just seems like Snake would really round it out, and just kind of waiting on it, and the fact that everyone's kind of given up on him, very few people think, I think he would make a big impact. If he was the last reveal, the sorry to keep you waiting Snake at the end, that I think would really...
That would be...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just do a redux of the codec conversation when he was revealed.
Yeah.
Like you think the direct's over, but actually not.
Right.
You get the
I
codec
think that would be
conversation
incredibly hype.
twice.
I honestly believe Inkling is coming. I think I just feel it in my bones that Inkling is one of the characters.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, if we're left with another slot, if it's a quick character or a veteran, I would say it's probably Wolf. Wolf makes sense. I think they'd want to fit maybe another hype-generating character in. I wouldn't even be shocked to see Snake come back. But at this point, I'm thinking another third-party newcomer, and there's really nothing that stands out. Square Enix was kind of the last big company besides Konami, the last big Japanese developer. Because after them, all you have is Tecmo Koei, who I would love Ryuhei Hayabusa. I'm actually a huge fan, but I don't see that happening for DLC. The franchise, the third game was kind of lackluster, and Team Ninja's not really doing as much as they were doing. So I'm not sold on that concept. And then level 5, we could still see Professor Layton. That would actually be pretty huge as well.
I'd love Layton.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'd be big for Layton.
But yeah, I'm not seeing any definitely Isaac's completely out of the question. Are you kidding me? After Cloud, you know how?
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. And hey, I'm an Isaac supporter too, but he's pretty much out. And there really aren't that many first parties I could think of. Maybe a character from Kirby, Zelda, or Mario, such as Toad, or a Donkey Kong character. I'll say this: if it's from an existing franchise, if it's from an existing first party franchise, I will be shocked if it's not from Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, or Kirby.
Zelda.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess that kind of went off the rails there, but I guess that's my my thoughts on that topic.
Yeah. Alright, well, before we close out this segment, I was reminded that it's not just characters we'll probably be getting in this December thing. It's very likely that we'll get Mii Fighters and at least one more stage.
Right.
We won't talk about the stage much because I'm pretty sure it's going to be whatever newcomer they've got will probably have a stage coming along with it, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Unless they decide to do, but on the off chance the stage is a returning one, if everyone just wants to say what they think the returning stage will be.
Fountain of Dreams.
So, Fountain of Dreams.
That's hard.
I'm going to say Newport City.
For both, though?
Yeah, I'll go with Newport City too.
No, not necessarily. It could just be on Wii U, and then 3DS gets I don't know, on the Wii U stages. That's
You guys are forgetting the best stage of all, Mario Bros.
Oh, I didn't say which stage I wanted to
love
return.
that stage.
Which stage I think will return. But that wouldn't... Fountain of Dreams wouldn't be my pick for what I want to return, but that's what I think will happen.
Yeah. And I think Fountain of Dreams is possible.
Pokemon Stadium 1.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Get them all.
That's
It could do. If it was a stage I wanted, I'd say Poker Floats, just for the sheer hilarity.
bring Venom
That'd be
back
great.
with
Sounds like a
Wolf, I
great.
guess. I don't know. I could see that working on 3DS easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venom could work.
I think
Or
I'm the
Termina
only...
Bay.
Huh?
I think I'm the only one who would ever want this, but I personally would like to have Frigate Orphean come back, because
No, that I've
after Pirate Ship, that was my favorite
I've
stage.
lobbied for that stage. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that stage.
I think it's a
I
good
think there were
stage.
too many times where I've been in the air and it's flipped and then I'm suddenly under the stage.
Well, I was a Kirby main in Brawl, so that never affected me, which is probably why I liked it so much.
Alright, well, moving on from stages, Mii Fighters. I know Spazzy and Push, you've been having a bit of a bet
Yeah.
with this.
We do.
Yeah.
But we'll sort of like Mii Fight. Do you think it's possible that, I know it's been talked about, the other top ballot winners, so characters like Isaac, characters like Dixie Kong, being added in as Mii Fighter costumes? To say, hey, they were really popular, they didn't quite make it as the winners, but here you can have them as
Consolation
Mii Fighters.
prizes.
Yeah, consolation prize. Do you think that's actually a possible thing that could happen,
Yes.
or do you think Sakurai doesn't want to risk upsetting people?
Yes, I think that's already a thing with King K. Rool costume. You had the Lloyd costume, Chrom. Like, those are all
Yeah.
very popular characters and heavily requested.
Yeah.
Like, Lloyd was not as requested once Pac-Man was revealed because people expected an info rep. So
Yeah.
I could see people saying like, oh, but he wasn't anyway. But I think very much the costumes are the characters that couldn't make it in through the ballot, or at least very popular in some other ways. Like Toad is very popular. What's her English name? The girl from Nachado?
Oh, Verity.
Yeah.
Verity is her
Verity.
English
Yeah.
name, and then Nature is her.
Yeah.
Japanese name.
She's very popular. She was very heavily requested in Japan.
I love her.
And yeah, her costumes looked really well done.
Sickening, I know.
So if the characters that we will see as costumes, I think you'll see Isaac maybe as a costume, which will probably upset a lot of people.
Yeah.
You'll probably see I don't know if the Kirby characters really work as like a bandana
think they do.
Waddle Dee. I don't know. I don't think they would work as costumes.
I could see it as like a hat, because I mean that's kind of what Meta Knight did, but I don't see it as a full costume.
Yeah, but they've been
Yeah.
doing mainly costumes, right?
Yeah, they have been. Because I mean, I think they did hats very briefly at the beginning,
Yeah.
but the hats cost just about as much as the costumes themselves did, so I don't think not that many people bought the hats unless they had to buy everything.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of feel
Although
like
it
we
seems like
could...
we'll just be getting a Chocobo hat as opposed to a full costume, it looks like.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, that's true.
I think we'll be getting a Moogle hat as well. I think that's very likely.
And then I will win my
You
bet.
can't have
Cute.
Chocobo and not a Moogle. And yeah.
Well, Push doesn't think we're gonna get any more
Yeah,
square
Push,
characters.
please,
Yeah.
please say the, just let everybody know, let our audience know what the bet is.
So the bet is that if there's additional Square Enix costumes besides the Chocobo costume, which is already revealed in the trailer, then I'll have to change my avatar for 1 month on Twitter, Smashboards, etc. to anything that Spazzy wants,
Nice.
as long as it uses the Wario Luma.
Okay.
That's the only stipulation that I have, because he's kind of my character in some sort of way, even though...
For sure.
And then if there are additional costumes, then Spazzy will I will change Spazzy's avatar to something I decide.
Okay.
And I think he said that I had to have something with Bomberman.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yours is just gonna be the Wario Luma saying 9-volt sucks, probably. I haven't decided yet.
I was gonna do Bomberman's face on the Old Spice guy.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's plenty of time before the
Yeah.
direct happens.
I think there's a reasonable chance that we could see the remaining Mega Man costumes that haven't been represented as part of Mega Man's Final Smash yet. So Mega Man Trigger, or
Oh,
slash
that's
Walnut,
true.
and Star Force Mega Man.
Hmm.
I feel like both of those,
Right.
if only one of them, it's more likely to be Trigger, but I feel like both that and Star Force Mega Man would be likely to be in the final wave. just because they did X and Zero and Mega Man EXE, why not
Yep.
the others?
Yeah,
Yeah, it would round up all the Mega Man characters. All the Mega Man.
What about Mighty
those
Number
other
Mega
three
Man?
characters were also
Oh god.
those
I don't think that's
the
something.
characters that were already customized. They were also popular requests in Japan, like XC Zero. Yeah, but I'm really happy the way that Sakurai's been treating the Mega Man franchise. in Smash.
God, you're tell me about it. I mean, I'm just
Like-
I'm such a diehard Mega Man fan, and I could not be happier with how he has
Yeah.
treated both the character and the overall franchise in Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think he really understands what fans of a series want, more or less. Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I mean, same with the Mother series, you know. He brought
Mhm.
Lucas back.
Yeah.
Magicant in the 3DS. is
Magicant's
just
such
brilliant.
amazing.
Such a cool
Yeah, it
stage.
was such a good
Right, and all the touches in the
Like
trailer, the Lucas trailer. I mean, you talk about the references in the Cloud trailer. The Lucas trailer was.
Yeah.
The ending
Yeah, Lucas
almost had me in tears.
Well, you know, and I feel like any other developer would have taken Mega Man and only pulled his specials from Mega Man 2 and maybe 3. But Sakurai did his research. He's like, no, I'm going to pull from 9 of the 10 games, and I'm going to use weapons like Flame Sword and Slash Claw that only hardcore fans would know or remember. And just
Right.
all the little things he does. I mean, the highest compliment I can pay to Sakurai about Mega Man is that maining Mega Man and being good with him, playing at a high level, feels like playing Mega Man.
Yeah.
And that's,
that's
it's jumping and
awesome.
shooting, and that's the highest compliment I can pay.
How great is Danger Rap, by
Yeah.
the way? Danger Rap is like my favorite thing that made it into the game.
It's awesome. I wish I could convince my friends to use customs because I love running Danger Rap and Skull Barrier, but they just will not play with customs.
Leaf Shield's so good once you
So-
actually kind of get it. It's kind of
Yeah.
almost esoteric in that when you first get the game, you're like, this is trash, but you have to kind of
Yeah.
learn it.
Once you learn how to use it,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good.
It took me forever to kind of even just realize that the reason it's a defensive weapon is that it eats projectiles. Like, I was playing, a friend of mine that was playing Ryu, so I would just put on Leaf Shield, and if he tried to Hadouken span, I would just throw the Leaf Shield, it would eat the Hadouken, and then hit Ryu, because that's what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a buddy who he mains Lucario, and he hasn't quite figured out Leaf Shield, so he'll try to spam like charged Aura Spheres. And I would just start throwing Leaf Shields right through them because it just completely penetrates any projectile. And he was like, wait, what are you doing? I'm not used to this.
The
I don't
power
like
of
this
Woodman.
move.
That's actually what Ice Slasher, I feel like, is good at, too, is it's really fast, and it goes through projectiles. But anyways, enough talking about Mega Man, even though he's awesome.
There's never enough
Yeah.
talking about Mega Man.
If you want to start a Mega Man
But I think
podcast,
that- I
we'll
think
do
we
this,
will
Ash.
see
We
some-
will.
Nice, nice.
Next
I think we definitely will see
Well-
some more Mega Man costumes to round out the missing entries from his final Smash.
Yeah.
I would like to see some Sega costumes, some more Sega costumes. The only ones we have are from Virtual Fighter.
Yeah.
There's no like Sonic the Hedgehog outfits. Or there's no Knight's outfit. We're saying might be a good one.
There's no Billy Hatcher.
Where's my Joe
Billy
Musashi? Where's my
Hatcher.
Shinobi costume? Come on, guys.
Where's my Streets
Yeah.
of Rage costumes? Give me an Axel costume.
They got the
Ooh, yes.
They got the
Blaze.
Sanshiro.
I would be just okay with having a Dr. Eggman costume.
Oh, you know what we...
That'd be pretty
I
great.
can see that
That'd
from
be
me,
great.
Gunnar.
Do you know what we brought up earlier?
With the Mii Gunner with the
I think
big
this was
mustache.
before. I mean, this was before the podcast. We were actually just talking about a couple items like this. This was before you got here, Ash. We're talking about how with the when Ryu was released, they released fighting game themed costumes, right?
Yeah.
So we're thinking, what if this time they release RPG
RPG
costumes? Like you get like costumes from like
Oh.
Phantasy Star for Sega,
Oh, that'd
and
be
from
cool.
like
Okay.
Breath of Fire for Capcom, and maybe another Tails costume for Namco, like that sort of stuff.
That
Another
would be
Xenoblade
that's a really
costume,
good.
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
you
a
could
cross
get
costume or
Fiora
something?
from Xenoblade, or
I know this would never happen,
Uh,
but if Square actually ever did Chrono Trigger costumes, I might lose my mind.
That would be
That was
amazing.
we actually brought
I
that
think
up
a Chrono
too.
costume
Yeah, I think
would
we're
be
all.
A Luca costume
Chrono
for
was
me,
one of the
Gunner,
first
get out of
things
here.
he
Or a
said.
Chrono costume.
Oh, come on, like-
no, it'd be over.
A Robo Brawler costume would make
Oh
me
yeah,
main
no, it would be
That's it.
it would be done. It would be over. I'd be nope.
I think a slime hat.
Right, that's why
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I can see
confident
that.
with my
It's 'cause
bet.
Dragon Quest
I'm
is
confident
slime.
with my bet for Push because I think there'll be a Moogle hat. I think there'll be a slime hat, and I actually think there might be some actual proper Dragon's Quest costumes. Like I wouldn't like Erdrick, the original protagonist, like his blue armor's pretty iconic. I could see that getting in for sure.
There has to be a Moogle hat at the
and-
very least.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
alright, I think that's wrapped up everything for this segment, so if everyone's fine with that, we're going to move on to the next one,
Alright.
Alright, so
Cool.
we'll stop recording.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
now that you said that, we are.
Hello, and welcome to the final part of our podcast this week. We're going to be answering some fan questions that got sent to us. Okay, Ash, we have a question specifically here for you. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm excited. All right. Specifically
Alright.
for me, I feel so special.
Specifically for you. So, Bladzer, I think that's how you pronounce that, asks you what it's like working with Andre and Derek from Game Explain, and also why you aren't in any of the analysis videos.
Okay, well, both good questions. It's a lot of fun working with Andre and Derek. Since I think I've been with Game Explain now for about a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. I've kind of lost track of the time, but it's been a while, and I've definitely, we've all become very aware of each other's idiosyncrasies. Like we know we kind of like the games we really like, don't like, and just kind of how we can push each other's buttons in a fun way. So that makes for a lot of really fun interplay. Like I always make fun of Andre for giving Kid Icarus Uprising 3 out of 5, because in my opinion,
What?
that game is like a 7 out of 5, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that
who
game
would
is
do that?
easily a 7 out of 5. What is he talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah,
Kid
like
Icarus
who would
Uprising
do
was
that?
such a great game.
Yeah, and then like I always go back and forth with Derek because he'll talk a lot of crap about Final Fantasy 13, which I like a lot. So we know how to push each other's buttons, and I think we've developed a natural rapport. So I have nothing but the highest things to say about those guys. I love them. In terms of why I'm not in the analysis videos, it's actually a very simple reason, really. For Andre and Derek, that is their full-time job. It's how they make their living. For me, being with Game Explain and game journalism in general is more of a passion project. My day job is I'm a senior editor at Udon Entertainment, a publishing company, and that's how I pay my bills. So that's where the majority of my time goes. So Game Explain is something I do as my passion project. So those analysis videos, sometimes I'll help out behind the scenes, like with the Cloud video, actually. I helped Derek analyze the Cloud trailer. And that was a lot of fun, but those take a lot of time, and when I'm not getting really paid for it, I don't really have time to put that much effort into it,
Yeah, no, I can imagine that. I follow Derek on Twitter, and I see him complaining a lot about how long analysis videos actually take.
Oh,
How much
it
time he
took
sits there to
about
look through
3.
everything.
Yeah, it took about 3, I think 2 hours actually, just to analyze the video, just to analyze the trailer, and then it took Derek several more hours to write the script and edit it to video. So it's a huge undertaking, and if it's my passion project, I can't take that much time off from my paying job to do that, as much as I would like to.
Yeah, no. I
So that's
completely
the long and short of it.
Okay, alright. Okay, so Ash had to run off because this podcast kind of went over the promised time. It's a bit long. So the SourceGaming team is going to answer the remaining questions. So starting from the top and working our way down. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard are you maining Cloud? And let's start with Marsman.
I guess 10. I mean, I'm adding him to my... I currently main Lucas and Palutena, and he's going to be my 3rd official. So, yep, it's done deal.
Nice. And Push?
Probably like a 7. I think he looks really interesting. I'll definitely try him out. Once I get a feel for him, I'll see how it goes.
Alright. Spazzy?
I'll say like maybe a 5. He looks interesting, and I'd like to check him out. Personally, more interested in the stage, and I feel like I'd be cheating on Shulk if I played as Cloud too much. So
I think mine's going to be the lowest with a 4. I don't have any personal attachment to Cloud, and I've already got my mains with Yoshi and King DDD and Wario, so I'm set. Alright,
Nice.
So next question is from Swampasaur, and it's boxers or briefs? Push?
Boxers.
Spazzy?
boxer briefs.
Best of
Okay.
both worlds.
And and Marsman?
Yeah, I'm a boxer briefs guy too.
I'm just a boxers guy. So,
So 2 and 2.
hey.
No briefs though.
Alright. So, okay, so
That's a good.
this next question is from RJ25, and he has 2 questions for us. The first is, what are our stance on amiibos, and are we collectors? So I'll start with this. I like amiibos. I didn't want to be a collector, but I've bought way too many more than I initially planned to. My original goal was to have just the characters I main in Smash, so the ones I already mentioned, and then get some of the ones I like Ness and Lucina and Shulk. And it's kind of exploded to the point that I've got like 30 plus amiibos already. I don't ever plan on getting them all, it's too much money, but if people buy them for me, I'm not going to complain.
Hint, hint.
Spazzy? Spazzy?
I have a lot of amiibos. I was planning on just getting the ones for kind of my mains and some of my favorite characters, but I got kind of caught up in it, and I have quite a few of the Smash series. I don't have any non-Smash, but I probably will get the Splatoon ones if I ever find them, and maybe a few more. Wolf Link looks pretty awesome. I think they're a neat concept. I think it's good for franchises like Xenoblade or like Punch-Out, where you don't have or the Mother series, Earthbound, where you don't have a lot of merchandise readily available already. So it's nice to be able to get it. And I don't mind their usage in games. In fact, a lot of people talk about it as physical DLC, but the fact that you can use it over a variety of games kind of mitigates that. And I'm also, I wouldn't even mind, honestly, an amiibo-based game like a new Nintendo Land where you can use your amiibos to play as other characters, or at least costume-wise.
Animal Crossing.
Anyways.
Amiibo Festival.
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, Push?
Yeah, I need KK Slider, too.
I think I have 14 right now. And I'm not sure how many more I'll get. Like, I got all the ones I pretty much wanted, like the retro reps, Zelda line, some of the third parties I thought were really interested in Smash, and then my mains. I'll probably get Ryu, and I might get Lucas, just because I do want to, like, I buy amiibos to kind of...
Might.
Yeah, I do it to support the series that I think kind of need it, in a way. Like,
yes.
I bought I had to get the Dalcon, I had to get the Game & Watch, I had to get Rob, because I feel like they're kind of like a more of a niche, and like they kind of need that support.
Yeah, I ended up doing that. I know I'm going to get Lucas and Roy, and I love Duck Hunt Dog. I just like the idea, so I got him as well.
Yeah, and then like I got Mega Man and Pac-Man because I love their representation in Smash. Like I like what they represent in Smash. I didn't really care for Sonic because I don't know, maybe because I got over him from Brawl, but
yeah, I need Pac-Man, but
yeah.
Well, so all right then, Maskman. What about you and amiibos?
I'm a completionist. I have all the Smash amiibo. I'm going to complete the collection just because I have an obsession.
Damn.
So it's going to happen. I have, other than the Smash series, I have Toad, and only Toad because he's amazing. The 30th anniversary original color Mario, Yarn Yoshi, just Green Yoshi, the 3 Splatoon amiibos, and that's it.
Okay.
But, yep, I'm insane.
Wow.
Well, so his other question was, with a major bundle releasing this year, the Smash and Splatoon Wii U bundle, as well as a bunch of high-profile games like Zelda Wii U and Sharp FE coming out, how well do you think the Wii U is going to perform in 2016? And we'll start with Marsman again.
Well, they have Star Fox Zero lined up. As you mentioned, they have Zelda Wii U coming out, and I think they're building a stronger install base with Smash and Splatoon, and I think overall they'll probably push a decent amount of software. I don't know if they'll do better than they did this current fiscal year. I'm sure they'll do decently, but they have so many other new projects with mobile and NX at this point that I think it's almost, Wii U is probably on its way out, but I'm sure they'll have a decent year.
I think it'll be about the same as it was this year, honestly. I mean, this year had some high-profile games, like Splatoon came out this year, and Mario Maker came out this year, and Woolly World came out this year. So I expect it to kind of do just the same. I think Pokken might sell well simply because it's Pokemon. I think Zelda's going to sell very, very well when it comes out at the end. Sharp FE, I don't know how well it will sell. It's curious to see how much Xenoblade Chronicles X does this year, because I think that'll be a good gauge on how Sharp FE will do next year. And Star Fox Zero, I don't know. I don't know how well it will do, honestly. I mean, it's coming out in Easterish time. I don't know how games usually do at that time.
It's not going to have too much competition, so that should help it.
Hopefully, because I want Star Fox to do well, but something in it's just telling me it won't. So
Yeah, Xenoblade is an interesting one. I feel like if they had done a proper sequel featuring Shulk, it probably would have sold very well because of Smash. But this game on the surface looks so different
yeah.
that it's not going to get a lot of the people from Smash to try the game out.
Well,
So
Spazzy, what do you think? How do you think? Answer the question. I got tongue-tied there.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think the Wii U's kind of on its downward slope right now. So I don't expect to see anything sell gangbusters, but who knows? Who knows? I mean, I know something like Twilight Princess HD is not going to set the world on fire. There might be one or two surprises left, but I really feel like so much has already moved over to NX development. And I do feel like that regardless of when the NX is released, it's going to be revealed at E3. So I think that's going to hurt Wii U sales unless they really start cranking out bundles and lowering the price and things like that. Pull a GameCube on it.
Well, Push.
I'm a Nintendo fanboy at heart, so I always believe that Nintendo will have a good year. I think that the NX will not totally replace the Wii U, like they've always kind of promoted it as the third pillar. So I'm not sure, but I'm sure it will affect the sales once it is released, even if it's not meant to replace it. As for our games and stuff like that, I feel like they still have stuff that they're working on, like we haven't heard anything about Pikmin 4. I feel like they have to be working on another Mario game on some system, either the 3DS or the Wii U. It doesn't, like, they're always working on a Mario game, essentially. And so I wouldn't doubt it if they had another one of those games released. But part of me does feel like they are moving projects to the NX, or at least showcasing them more when they're already almost finished, instead of trying to hype them up and keep the hype train going.
Yeah,
I think a lot depends on mobile, on how the mobile, the market responds to the mobile games, and if they actually do well. And I mean, they're really, when you watch the Direct, they're pushing amiibos hard.
Yeah.
So as long as the amiibo craze doesn't really, die off, I think that'll really help carry them through.
Also,
as well.
they did announce the Nintendo account and I'm spaced now on the other,
My Nintendo.
My Nintendo account and My Nintendo. I think they are coming to the Wii U, right? And
Yeah, I think so.
So they have to be, because they're in March. That's when it's releasing. And so, like, having that and having the mobile connectivity that they promised with the games, I think there's going to be some Wii U games that have mobile connection. Which
I think Pokken is a very likely one to have mobile connection. I mean, with arcade titles in Japan usually have this extra thing with cards or whatever.
Yeah, the
people
banana
keep their
passport.
data on. I wouldn't be surprised if you could do that on your phone maybe over here.
Yeah, or
Pokken.
something like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could still do.
I think there was two more points.
I wonder if...
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say there was two more points that I wanted to bring up with this question that I just suddenly thought. He asked about the bundle releasing later this year, and I don't think that will affect sales like too majorly. I think people will buy the Wii U with the bundle. I already know some people who have, but I don't expect it to dramatically change sales for next year. I think there'll be some people who might buy it as a Christmas gift this year and maybe not. Then that's it. But as the other one was, when it comes to revealing the NX, I think a big part is going to be whether the NX is backwards compatible with Wii U games. Because I can imagine if it is, and they reveal that it is, a lot of people who are on the edge about buying a Wii U may just wait it out until the NX and then buy the Wii U games they want then. Because they know they can play it on the NX. I think that might heavily impact how well sales do.
I don't think it will be, because they've always said that it will be a third pillar.
I don't know.
Yeah, but didn't they say that about the DS as
it
well?
almost has to be. Yeah, they did, and the DS came with a Game Boy Advance
That's
slot.
true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm wondering if the Nintendo account is something that's going to... Because they showed how you could share your Mario Maker stages online now, if they're going to be doing things like that more. Where for, like for Smash Brothers, for instance, your Mii Fighters and your stages and all sorts of stuff.
The idea that I had was that the mobile would be like a standalone product. Like, it would be like, for example, like a mini game that you could play to get some rubies in Zelda or something like that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking something along them lines. I think there'll be one or two that are a bit more substantial than that. It really depends if they're free to play or not, because there's been conflicting information about that recently.
Yeah.
Whether they're all free to play or whether only Miitomo is free to play.
Yeah.
I think if you have to pay for it yourself beforehand, they're going to be a bit more substantial than just a mini game that gets you more stuff.
Or they'll include the games as part of the physical release. Like if you buy this game, then you can get a mobile app.
I could see that happening. If the game's like that, yeah, then I can fully see if it's cross-promoted with another game, then yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But games that are just sold on their own, like whatever Super Mario mobile game is going to come out, probably will be its own substantial standalone thing.
Yeah. Mario's something that they'll probably save once they get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Mario's definitely one of the first 5. He's definitely one of the first 5, but he may not necessarily be one of the first 2 or 3. He may be the
I want a game filled with microtransactions that's a Wario game.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even be mad if it's a Wario game, you know?
WarioWare. I think WarioWare is actually perfect for mobile games.
Yeah, WarioWare would work well, and they need to make a new WarioWare game.
Yeah, they do. I'm surprised the 3DS and Wii U never... Well, Wii U did get one, but...
the Wii U didn't get one. The Game & Wario is not a WarioWare game. It was a tech demo that was made into a WarioWare game.
Alright. Well, we got one last question, and it's from Chris Baker, and he asks when we think the Smash broadcast will hit. So I will start with Spazzy on this one, because me and Push have talked about this and have our ideas.
Yeah, like I said, I think I saw something pop up on my Twitter feed or somewhere, and I think they were talking about it during this. There's a rumor that it's on December 3rd. I don't know if that's substantial at all, so I'm just throwing it out the window. If it happens, it happens. I feel like it's likely to be probably the second week of December. Feels about right. Something before the holidays, but still a little whiles away. I'd say maybe. I'm going to say the 15th, just right in the middle of the month.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna make that day up.
All right.
Definitely going to be on the 15th.
Maskman?
Yeah, no, I'd say they'll probably give it about a week until Christmas and the big holiday rush. So I'd say probably about like a month from today, 15, 16.
I think it will be the week that Smash Wii U was launched worldwide. So I think it was launched in Japan last on the 6th of December. Mm-hmm. And the week of the 6th is 6th of the Monday this year. And it's the beginning of the second week. So I think by the end of that week, so the weekend of the 10th, 11th, 12th, is when they will reveal the Smash Challenger approaching, the new one. The thing is, I don't know which day it will be, because the last one was on a Sunday. But I wonder how much influence E3 had on when it was going to be.
Saturday, maybe? I thought?
Yeah, it could be the Saturday in the middle.
No, I think it was on a Saturday for Challenger approaching. I'm not 100%.
Really? I thought it was the Sunday.
Maybe.
Maybe it was just so hard to get it on the eShop that it ended up being a Sunday before anyone got to use it. No, I thought Saturday was when it leaked. I thought Saturday was the Micro Direct and Saturday was when it all leaked. But, alright, well, yeah, my prediction is the 10th, 11th, or 12th, that weekend. Hopefully the 10th. What about you, Push?
Yeah, I'm with everyone. I think everyone's basically around the 10th to 15th. I don't really think the anniversary. I already talked to you about this when we talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
But I really don't think the anniversary matters when deciding the day. I think it's just they just happen to be ready for the end of development. They just happen to be ready to be released and announced. So it's just coincidence. And I think that it makes sense to release it definitely before Christmas because New Year's is really a big holiday in Japan. And everyone gets it off. I have 2 weeks off from my job from
nice.
At the end of December, so I will be writing articles like crazy during that time. But like it's just New Year's is so important in Japan. I can't see the development team not taking that off. And that's the only time that Sakurai has even taken off during Melee was New Year's. Besides a couple of days in July, I think. Besides that, he worked a year and a half straight. So, don't underestimate New Year's. It'll be definitely before a week or two before then.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we had. So I would like to thank everyone for listening to this pretty long podcast this week, and I'd also like to thank Ash for joining us for this edition. So with that, we think we're going to end it on this. So I hope you all look forward to our next podcast. All right,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hooray, podcast out.
Bye.